I'm really happy to have Senator Ted Cruz join.
Hi, everybody. Oh, there it is. Oh, and my hair's tucked underneath my thing again. And then I have to turn on my side lights, which I forgot to do, which is a pain in the butt. But eventually I will have a shortcut for it. But for some reason, it doesn't work on this computer sometimes. And if I forget to snap, there we go. All right, now we're lit. There you go. Hi, everybody. How are you? How was your Friday? Those of you that weren't with us this morning, what a joyful time we had. Lots of singing. It was it's becoming very holiday-esque. Ish. I think both. Ish and esque. Holiday-ish. Ishkabibble. On on the show lately. And I think that's kind of a good thing. As we get closer to the holidays, I have no doubt that I just feel like I can see a singing Jingle Bells in a round happening on a morning show. I don't know how you guys join in, but probably somehow it's got to happen, you know? Oh, man. And yeah, by the way, Motang. It's funny because it creates an effect because it's just the shade of yellow enough to sort of the green screen gets triggered by it. So it makes it kind of alive and shiny when it's just plain yellow. Thanks, Nails by Sherry. It drops you off. Cherie. It looks like Shechai. Troubadour and the Ace Frehley acoustic. That was me. That's right. Welcome. Hello. Glad to hear you. Oh, what saith you, Beth? That everyone is saying sorry to hear it too? Hugs around. I can't see it. It's too far back in the chat, but much love. Now I've got to scroll back and see what it was. And Massachusetts. The morning show launched a great day. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it, Mark. Appreciate it. Either way, hugs all around. Or grandmother, I beg your pardon. So sorry. And close to Christmas too. I don't have any grandparents who are still around, and I am really like, I got a lasso around my kids' grandparents, my parents, right now to make sure they don't go anywhere. My dad's I get my hypochondriacal tendencies from my dad. Now I outgrew mine. I don't have them anymore. But I used to be quite one. I used to be, a heavy-duty hypochondriac, all based on my dad. I'm just saying.
I like wood.
But we'll see. Anyway, so, yes, we talked about Michael Nesbitt this morning, and Paul Stanley posted about that. His post on it, I retweeted it. It's very lovely. All right. But that's not why we gather. When we gather, we have an important raison d'être. We get together to have a laugh at the unlaughable. We want to take what's effectively just flat out grotesque and make it into comedy. I can see how everyone would think that Steve Bannon is a threat to all we hold dear. I apologize if I'm insufficiently scared of this dipshit and
the CPI number has
there's going to be a November report. Prices up 6.8%. This is going to be the expected. By the way, the expected inflation number based on what they're talking about compared to last year was 7%. It's 6.8%. It's actually lower. And again, this is year over year. And it's all fuel, and we weren't using any last year. Like, that was the least amount of travel in a holiday season in the West, anyways, in multiple decades since you all piled into a station wagon and airplane tickets were paid for in cash because nobody'd ever been hijacked yet. That was the last. So, but this year over year, by the way, if you'll notice in this, I'm sure they'll bring it up. Look at all the empty shelves. I mean, there's just nothing. You can't find the color. Even if you wanted a color, everything is either just beige or white or gray. There are no colors. Your desire to have things in the color you want, it's impossible. It's not going to happen. It's all done. There's no colors.
Come the one to watch, even more than the jobs number, as inflation pushes Americans to laser focus on their everyday expenses. Over the past year, the price of meat.
Hey, look at that. Why would the price of meat be going up there, Chris Jansing? Might be the thing. By the way, Trump sold all of our, my hands are dirty. I've been under the thing. Trump sold all of our beef, corn, and soybeans last year. Basically zeroed out in the middle of the pandemic. Largest order ever to China, gone. And then on top of that, because of the lack of transportation to get products to market, a lot of livestock had to be culled last year. Yeah, so hence there's no stock for this year, hence higher prices, 60%. This business, 8%, by the way, over last year, so it up a whole 12 cents. For a dozen. 58% up for gas because no one was going anywhere. And all of the prices in these things, all these things, that's why. See all these things? All the why? And by these, like I said, these are culled, so that's why there's more. But the reason for these things and half of this is that number right there. Now, that's year over year. November 2020 to 2021. Now, is it 58% over 2019? You ask? No. Let's see. Hold on one second, if I may. I keep having to open up another window on these things, and it always pops up over there. Okay. So, gas prices 2019. Oops, I'm in the wrong one. Gas prices 2019. 2019, what were the prices? That's 2019 as the benchmarks. Oh, ba-doo-dee-doo-ba-doo. Oh, hey! 2019, oh my gosh, look at 50% is a, oh, there was a dip at the beginning of 2019 and it went back to there. Oh, hey, $3. And then it got down to here, the 250 started to go down into 2020. Oh, Christmas 2020 when shit started going, and here we go. All right, so this is January 2019. This little dip right here. Let's see what. Here's 2018 is a peak, $3. And then so the average up from this is 2020, I guess the baseline number weekly U.S. average retail 2014 to 2019. Let's see 2020. Let me give me 2020. Hold on, because that'll give me the full gas prices. 2020. Whoops. Oh, hey, look at that. 267, 242, 21 to September. There's we're up. Oh, I see. Look at that. 29. There we go. 2018. $2.91. We're up 30 cents over that one. We're up way over this one, but we're not way up over this one or this one. And it was already on its way down because of the lower gas prices. And that's where Trump went in and argued with Russia and China, Russia and Saudi Arabia because they were having a big fight. Here we go. Ooh, 2008. Yikes. What's happening there? Wait a minute. But we're still, how are gas prices, even though inflation also dollars in this dollar worth more than this dollar? Why would this dollar, if this dollar's worth more, if a 2008 dollar, right before the crash, what, with that? And then, oh, it already going to 2022. This is projected. Retail gas prices all the way to 2022. That's nice. They already know what it's going to be. And it's 2021 November. It's going to be January here. Boop, like that. So we are up a lot from here. From the lowest. Let's see. So this is November 2021, and this is November 2020 right there. So basically, they're picking. Yeah, here we go. Boop. 2020, it was $2 and just $2.20 a gallon in November when no one was going in, when the entire country was voting by mail because we weren't going anywhere. We've done this a bunch of times. They talk about this shit all the time. But look at the boop from this. Oh my God, it's $3.49. I can't believe it. Oh my God. Oh, look. It's $3.76 in 2014. Here it is, $3.70 in 2013. Oh my gosh, it's $3.90 in 2012. Oh, Lord. Oh, and it's all the way up in 2008, right when George Bush was leaving office. Say right before the... it was $4.11 per gallon. Hey, let's look at... That's monthly, too. A month. Boink. Yipes. Look at the annual. Yeesh. The annual, it was higher even still. What? I guess we don't have the annual for this one yet. So it'll be back to here. That's what we're seeing annually. Right. Okay, how about by week? That should be crazy. Let's see what week looks like. Show weekly. Oh, you won't do it. Monthly, weekly. Click, go weekly. It won't give me a weekly? Oh, there you go. Weekly. So, and it's going down. Oh, look at that. What's happening there? It's coming up, and then there was a big spike right here, and then it's on its way down. $3.44. Well, oh dear. And still nowhere near the peak of $4 a gallon on average that was happening in 2008, right before the bottom fell out. Now, does anybody think, this is a great example. Let me blow this up a little bit so you guys look at this. Can I just ask anybody a question? And then you can give me your honest answer. If Chris Jansing is in the chat, please have her pipe in. Now, the percentage difference between here and here is a lot. Dear God, gas prices are clearly up insane amounts from here. Aren't they? Are they not? They're up, statistically speaking, from a percentage point, they're up 5-3%. They're up 85% or whatever it is. That's a lot. Look at that. Oh my God. The percentage from right here to right here, gas prices are through the roof. As long as the roof is somewhere around here. Because it isn't, because this would be the roof. Just in case anybody goes, gas prices are through the roof. Technically, the roof right now is $4.11 on average across the whole country. Do you know how fucked that makes most of the expensive areas? Yeah, it's $140 a barrel. They're saying oil's going to go to $70 a barrel. They're expecting maybe as high as $100. But that's it. That's the peak, right? Now, does anybody think that they ran news stories right here? Let's see what this. In 2009. Oh my God. I know, look, the economy might be in the shitter, but look how low gas prices are. Gas prices are back to 2004 numbers. Hooray. Rap. And then, now from here to here, dear God, gas prices are up over the course of about a year and a half like insanity. Oh my God. Oh dear God. Right? Look at the percentage difference between here and here. Now, this is just 2 years later, 3 years. We'll stretch this out from here to here. 3 years after this, after it fell off a cliff and went back up to here, still didn't get back to its all-time high. Still didn't get there. Still never got there. Never didn't get there ever. By the way, still right now, we are not above 2014 levels. We're lower still than 2013. We're even lower than 2012. Twice, the two peaks in 2012, 2011, and we're way below this one. We're in the nature of, arguably, the 2007 and the bottoms of 2013. Oil prices gas prices after a rise are the lowest they've been, have dropped to 2014 levels. Yeah. And by the way, this is the oil market cratering. This is it making up profits. This is it cratering again. Get used to the fucking idea. This is an ongoing trend. This is where we hit peak of this and then, yeah. So, but like it's 58%. But it's 58%, guys, from here. It's up 58% from where it is here. Now it's down 12% from 2012. Anybody? All right. We'll do eggs later.
It's gone up 16%. Eggs are up 8%. Milk roughly 5%. And the price of gas is up 58% over the past 12 months.
Yeah, I think
over the past 12 months.
A technical term is everything is up. Energy and gas, as you just said, is up.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't, Steve. Everything is not up. As a matter of fact, most of that shit is down from a decade ago. Jesus Christ.
Lot, but other things are up as well. And that's really the issue here with inflation. Changes
since last year, 6.8%, 0.8% in the last month. They thought it was going to be a full point. It's not. That's why 6.8%. The market was expecting 7%. They're expecting Jerome Powell to choke point the bond market going into next year and raise interest rates based on that 1% projection. It didn't happen. More than likely, this will cause a market rally. They know this, by the way. And by overshooting this in the business markets, they know it will create a pump.
It's rising from what it was. It's persistent.
It's rising from what it was. It's also down from what it was. But who's counting, Steve?
And it's widespread. I think those are the three things that we're looking at here. And there may be more to come, I think, which is not necessarily in this report, but two particular areas.
Also, wages are up. Almost 10%.
Now, one is that I believe it's probably too early for the wage gains that we've seen out there to be priced in to actual consumer.
No, the wage gains are priced in largely.
That may be
because they are priced in because of UI over the last 8 months. Unemployment insurance, the tail end of that, everybody hanging on, not having a job, and just waiting out UI as long as they could until it officially dried up, giving them a stockpile of cash to pull from, which is affecting the market in a huge way. And he knows this, and this is bullshit.
There may be more housing inflation, which has been on the rise to price in to the index here. So it's not just that it's...
Yeah, nobody's buying a house at Christmas, fucko. That's the other thing, too. We're past where people are locked in. Home sales will go up again starting in the spring, late spring, as they do, as people start selling their house before they move because their kids are out of school, and there are large trends on this. The other thing is market slowdowns in available materials that made prices go up because people were buying fresh houses that required fresh funds. There was no... Do they even teach supply and demand anymore?
It is now, which is a 39-year high, but the issues are maybe more to come.
A 39-year high. Now you understand why the Biden administration, Natalie, Natalie's our co-host for the day.
Hi, Natalie.
This is why the Biden administration were giving background briefings to the media, and this is why Don Lemon was out the other day saying, "Hey, it's 2 cents different on gasoline in."
Yeah, that's because it is 2 cents different. And by the way, for the record, can I bring up the same thing again? This my favorite $7 gas in California. Remember this guy? Remember, this is one of our favorite ones. This is our favorite kind of go-tos. Fact or fiction? California gas stations charge $7. What? California $7 a gallon for gas? Oh my God, $7? That's true. Yes, it's true. Premium is $7.59 a gallon, $8.50. Holy shit. However, let's see. In July 2019, same gas station was charging $11.75 for a gallon. Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you paid for gas in California at this day for $7.60, you got a deal compared to 2019. Go fuck yourself, Steve Bannon.
In California, right? The Biden administration.
By the way, you sound great. You don't sound congested at all. It doesn't sound like Omicron to me at all. I would just... go see a veterinarian. for whatever skin condition you have.
Can't hide from the numbers.
By the way, all jokes aside, I cannot stand Steve Bannon. I consider him a traitor and a disgusting human being. I think he should spend the rest of his life in jail for a myriad of crimes that he has committed. But that shit needs looking at. I do not wish death on anyone. That thing has gotten that weird, like, black collection of moles on his fucking face. If he's lucky, that's black mold, which it wouldn't surprise me because he looks like he has the same skin quality as the troll who runs the death machine that takes a year of Wesley's life away in The Princess Bride. That's fucking nasty. Go see a doctor. Get your head scraped. If I was you, I would just take out this whole section and then have them pull your face back at the same time. Double up.
The Republican Party senators, led by Mitch McConnell, sold out the nation last night. They
yeah. By the way, he means the nation of Russia by not allowing the debt ceiling, by allowing the debt ceiling to get raised in an appropriate fashion to pay the debts of the Donald Trump years. The debts of the, because we're still in that, that's that budget. That's when this happens. We'll talk about raising the debt ceiling next year, blaming that on Biden after, of course, they have enough tax revenue where they can go watch for like August. They're going, yeah, we actually have a surplus. We're gonna talk about we'd love to do a tax cut on the middle class, but if the Republicans take over the House, they're going to give it to rich people. Watch that to happen.
Out the nation by taking the brake off of this insanity, the spending. The reason,
no, asshole. That was the brake on the spending. You basically, we have a brake so that we don't careen off a cliff.
You have 39-year high in inflation that the Biden administration can't lie.
39-year high in inflation. Is that what it is? Anybody want to do that math? A 39-year high in inflation. You mean in percentage change? Which isn't even true because the percentage change around 2008 was extraordinary. Bigger than the one we're going through right now. Everybody knows that on all fronts. The problem is it undermined, because it was the mortgage industry, it fucked up real estate. So it was the only thing that didn't recover after 2008. So the jacked up switch over number, nobody was buying houses immediately after that unless they were buying them to flip them.
Been their way away from. You have demand pull because we put too much cash into this.
That's what it is. Demand pull. That's the problem, guys. See, people have too much money to make decisions with, and you can't trust poor people with that much cash on hand giving $3,000 to a bunch of poor folks who were hit by a pandemic and may have lost their entire nest egg and job while their businesses were shut down while Trump was fucking around with this thing. You can't give them that kind of, and then give them a child tax credit that they get direct money for the raising of their children that they were paying, that they're using to buy better food, driving the price of food up because organics are selling better and therefore more organics are coming to market because people can afford to buy more organic food for their fucking children, which is exactly what he's talking about. Let's understand. The price, that big jack up on the price of eggs, it largely has to do with a leap in the cost of organic eggs.
Even Larry Summers realizes that $1.9 trillion last support mechanism in the summer under Biden was too much, shouldn't have been done. So you have demand pull.
Does he? Does he? So you're trusting him now? You didn't trust him before?
Also have supply push.
Oh, look at that. A 666 in the super chat already. We've got 666 people in the chat room joining us right now. We've crested over that number in the YouTube chat by itself. That didn't include all the other chats that are flying and all the people who sit back, watch the show, and hi, I'm waving at you right now. I know you're not in the chat room. I know you just watch. Hi. You don't have to join in the chat at all. I'm just glad you're here. I really am. Some people just need to ride this out. They don't have to say anything. They participate by letting me take some of, like, this cement block off their chest that the news puts on every day. If I have a reason for being these days, kids, It's that I can walk over to you while you're laying on the couch or sitting in your chair or lying in your bed or if you're, God forbid, watching in your car, I don't know, while it self-drives. I can just come over and just take that cement block right off your chest so that you don't, because there are serious things to deal with in our world. There are serious considerations. There are serious problems in our world, and this ain't one of them. None of this shit matches up to the horrors that we've gone through as a country and that we're still dealing with in reality. These kind of things are economic corrections that will happen because we all just went through the pit of a horrible pandemic and we're coming out of that. And many of you have survived it, and I'm very happy. And some of you, like me, have lost people during it, and it's been heartbreaking, and it's been a huge burden. And compared to this shit that they're trying to turn the last 10 months into the worst of it, fuck off with that nonsense. And I'm not going to let it stand, and that's why I'm here for you. And I'm so glad that we've hit 666 people in our YouTube chat room, just so I could trigger the people at Flashpoint who hate watch me. I see you, Gene the Jesus Machine. I see you, Greg Kelly. That's my Greg Kelly impersonation right now. It's pretty dead on, I gotta say.
Right, because the supply chains are all messed up. The logistics chains are all messed up.
Yeah, the supply chains are all messed up. That's obviously something that occurred in the last 10 months, not the last 20 years. Secondly, this asshole was cheering for business bottom lines as people went to, as businesses moved their factories to China, so he can go fuck himself now that he's on the tit of a former Chinese billionaire who managed to get out with his funds and now has a problem with the CCP in the last 3 years.
Structural changes are bringing back the supply chains from China. So now you have...
By the way, no, not just from China. That's definitely part of the problem. But the supply chains from all over the world are a problem because transportation was a problem because everything fucking shut down. And Europe especially, everybody just, to save their lives because they valued them, walked right off the line. The factories just stopped. And so those things sat, some of the computers and cars and shit that were made during that time, where they literally shut the factories because of it, and everybody went home and to ride it out in Germany and France and Italy and England and all these places. When they came back and reopened those factories, whatever they were working on, the materials they had that they were working with right there, were wasted, thrown the fuck out. So they had to start from scratch.
The worst of both possible worlds. It's exploding. New polling out.
No. I don't care what the polling says unless it's based on reality. Unless you poll people and show them this fucking chart first. Ask people about gas prices. But when you do, show them this chart. Show them the absolute cost of gas. Yeah, it was down, and it certainly was down during 2020, right here. Now, Russia and Saudi Arabia were in a fight for the last 3 years to kind of drive each other out of business for a while before the Nord Stream pipeline could come in. That was Russia's plan. But show everybody this one. Please, in the polling, show everybody this. Show where gas prices are, where they are currently. Show this little nudge where it's going back down. See that little thing where it's heading back down? And by the way, there's a reason why they're writing out this storyline about gas, because it's going to continue to go down over to the first of the year, and it's going to level out about here again. This is a compensatory number. This number is a compensatory number between this number and this number. The making up for the money lost here is this extra piece right here. That's what that is. That's what gas and oil companies are doing, and that's also the extra need for fuel. The backup need for fuel that was caused by all this. Because now everybody needs everything and they need it yesterday. Chris Jansing, MSNBC, I love you guys. CNN, hi. Stop it. If you poll people, show them this fucking chart. Show them gas prices. Show them, how about this? Show them this shit that I just showed you about the $7 a gallon gas in California at the station you used that was $11.75 in 2019. How many people think that the polling would be different if you showed people those numbers before? We have, and by the way, the primary financial burden we have in the United States for most people is not gas or food, it's housing. Because we do not have enough housing in this country for demand. And because there's this tipping point of demand versus available properties, people can be pushed into higher and higher levels of rent to live in a bigger space because there's not a house available where they need to move or where they want to move. There just isn't volume available. So rent can be driven higher and higher on those folks who could move into a house, who could afford a house, but there's this tipping point of rent gets so high that the money they would put away or set aside, it's not even affordable housing. Affordable housing is kind of a generic term for stuff, which is usually what people call, MJ Daniel, subsistence housing. Absolute bottom rung poor housing, like week to week or month to month hotels in Appalachia and poor areas, right? This like overtly poor housing, like Section 8 housing, that kind of stuff. That's not where there's a gap, because there's actually quite a bit of that now. There's been big movements, especially in big cities, towards that in rent control areas. There's been a huge expansion of those things in the last 35 years. What there has not been is an expansion of effectively middle-class housing. There's been a tremendous amount of suburban expansion, but not at the rate of family growth, to match family growth. So you have a lot of families that could afford a house payment, paying a house payment to live in an apartment because to be near their work or be near their job, they couldn't afford a house that close by, and there's not enough of them for sale anyways, and there's a bidding war, and there's been a lot of foreign cash thrown into those things because they would rather buy those houses and rent them to those people. We have a volume problem as far as housing in the United States, and that's what jacks the price up. Supply and demand. There is not enough supply in housing, and the real estate market and the people who have real estate investments, especially those on city councils, fuck all this nonsense about people in local and city governments and state governments being beholden to gun lobbies and corporations and chemical companies. That's a problem, but nowhere near the problem of them being in bed or having their own real estate investments that drive their concern more than anywhere else. Their long-term cost of their house being their primary investment has more control over their decisions about how they're going to allow more housing to be made than any stock that they own. Because a stock they can get out of in a day. But the house in the neighborhood they go to where they live, where their kids go to school and all that kind of shit, they're not getting out of there. They're hanging on to that shit forever. That is the primary solution. As mayor of Los Angeles, one of my primary drives would be a housing boom. And if I push for that, and I will, the city council will dogpile me for bringing it up. Real estate investors and real estate developers, there's a war between developers and investors right now, because developers know that there's money to be made in the selling and the making all the time. The investors don't want that. So there's this fight going on between the people who the demand drives the price up and the supply folks would eat into that. That's the primary reason. That is it. You fix that, and the cost of living in the United States tapers off, because everything else is manageable and has to do with elements of consumer choice. You can you can shop easier for alternative anything. You could drive further to get cheap gas easier than you can move your fucking house. That's true for everyone. It's also it's also, you must know why places like Las Vegas is expanding as a suburb of Los Angeles. That's what's happening here. People who need to live and work in Los Angeles but can't afford it and need a bigger house for, having their own internal studio and better internet, and can't afford to live in Bel Air or some shit like that. That's what's happening to Vegas. Vegas is becoming a suburb of Los Angeles. A 1-hour flight. It's cheaper to buy a big house here, fly to LA, Uber to your auditions, Uber back and fly home. How fucked is that? And it's not because we're lacking land mass. LA has plenty of it. And here's the thing. You could solve it simply by allowing development of larger, taller apartment buildings. That's it. Because before it was earthquakes, nobody wanted a building over 3 stories for apartments. Now we can do 8-story apartment buildings easily with not only just retrofitting, but new architectural techniques, deeper foundations, all that kind of stuff. They can withstand these earthquakes. We know now we have materials that can withstand it. We have better engineering, and you can do it. And people aren't afraid of it, too. People used to be afraid to live in any building that was 3 stories high in Los Angeles. And now they're not. And Chinese housing is a joke. You know what, Josh? Josh says, careful how they might steal your plans. Good. Because my plan is a solid one. I don't need credit for it to benefit my country. I don't care. Yeah. So, yes, roller foundations. You can get much bigger buildings, and it's stronger. And Chinese development is just bullshit. Nobody is ever going to live in the houses that they're building. No one. They're rotten buildings. They call it tofu dung. The buildings are made out of tofu. It's shit. You can go up and literally claw your way through a wall. Just like this. Just go like that, and the wall starts to go spongy in your hand. They don't care. There's fucking hay in the foundations. It's terrible. That's not the problem in the United States. The United States is, you got 10 people on a city council. All of them are millionaires. All of them have $1 million houses or multi-million-dollar houses. And that's the primary investment they have in their life, like every other American. And they don't want those prices to go down ever. Not a little bit. And the weird thing is, it really wouldn't affect long-term in any major way their investment at all. Those houses would still be worth, arguably even more because they're more isolated and that kind of stuff. But the development of apartment blocks and, not even low-cost ones. You need middle-class, large-scale apartment buildings. Anyways, I get on that rant and it drives me fucking crazy. I'm not a psychotic narcissist. Thank you. I am a genius. That is technically true. But don't get me started. It's a title I hate to share with Einstein because I'm just saying, if he was alive, we'd have a lot to argue about.
Also today from CNBC, absolutely catastrophic for the Biden administration, and yet you get Jim.
Catastrophic. Hold on. That was from the we're watching the same thing. What, the CNBC stuff?
Absolutely catastrophic for the Biden administration, and yet you got Jim Cramer and others running around. Oh, it's a Biden boom, greatest economy in world history, all of it.
Well, guess what, asshole? It kind of is, especially compared to where the rest of the world finds itself. Could it be better? I guess. Rising wages in the United States ultimately will translate into a better buying position for Americans for goods from overseas, from all over the world. You'll have people who are like lower middle class, upper lower class, the zone that I was kind of like birthed into when we finally got to have, when you could finally eat at a restaurant that had forks. I remember that. Some people remember the first time they ate at a restaurant that had forks, real ones, not sporks or plastic. If you grew up, in that kind of area, yes, 3D printed houses. It's a thing. It's coming. I'm just saying. Been for it for a long time, especially in areas like California where you can buy tiered triangular walls so that they can handle the shake in a way that flat walls cannot. Anyways, have I tested my IQ? What would you fight Einstein about? It's too much to get into right now, but effectively his assumptions about gravity are way off. And it's why his math is why we're chasing dark matter right now, which is just the modern day version of the ether argument. That it's mathematical spackle, and it drives me crazy. Just know you don't know. So anyways, that's another conversation for another time. But the economy right now is recovering from a fucking pandemic. Most of the stuff that people are complaining about in our economic current status in the United States, we are way better off than so many other countries in the world, even to the situation where we can help those who are impoverished around us. The fact that we had food lines is compensatory to the fact that we had food to give to people in those lines. We didn't ever run out. We ran out of people looking for food. We didn't run out of food. Even as those, that food got tapered down in quality thanks to Trump selling it all to China in the middle of last year. And in the meantime, while inflation is going up, part of it is because wages are leaping forward for the first time in a long time. People who are employees now have a little bit of money, and they're not desperate to just take whatever job's right in front of them, so they can negotiate even a better hourly fucking wage, which never happened for decades. It's not that things don't suck because we've just come out of a pandemic. It's because it could suck way worse. And we have to have respect for the fact that worldwide, we're in a really good position. And those of us that are even slightly above water, those of you that may be in a salaried position, for example, who are above my station currently, as it were, because I have a job where if I don't show up, I don't get paid. That's my job. I'm just, I'm an hourly worker at this point. And mine's different because there's no baseline. I could do the whole show for nothing if nobody super chats or nothing, if there's no bits. If I end up doing a show and there's nothing from it, that time is just spent, right? Which is fine because I feel like I'm doing a service. That's why it's always felt good. That said, I'm not some, salaried lawyer someplace or salaried executive someplace. I got to show up for work every day, or I don't get paid and I don't buy food and I don't pay my bills. Okay? That's my life. I'm a performer. That's part of the gig. It's always been the gig. It's always been my life. Since I was 16 years old. I've been, a live performer, even to the point of, in acting, there's some talk, you get some primary residuals when you do a job because it airs again and again and again. But that's because they sell advertising on your job. That's part of the actual salary. But at a certain point, it drops off a cliff. And I'll give you an example. The first 2 seasons of Queer as Folk were done under a Canadian contract. This is before the SAG, one world SAG rule that they had, thank God. But Sharon Gless and I had to hold out for a SAG contract because we realized we were not going to get residuals on any of those episodes in the first 2 seasons. None of the cast would. And so Sharon and I, because we had a name, we could stomp our feet a little bit. The rest of the cast, they felt like they could replace, just kill the character off. Do something. It'd be a nice dramatic moment, right? They don't care. They can hold that over it. If you're unknown, the studio's always got a gun to your character's head. Always. Ask anybody on The Walking Dead but the top 3. So Sharon and I held out, and we got a SAG contract. And so the cast gets residuals, and again, tapered, and they're very little after all these years, but they exist. You know, you're talking about like half a penny every time it airs or something like that. You're getting like, you know, $20 to $100 checks maybe. But something, right? Nothing to, you know, money from manna from heaven to some degree. You got to be happy about it. But the first 2 seasons, we don't. We do not a penny. And so when you watch the reruns, you will often see that they will rerun the first 2 seasons for free on the network, and then the other ones are on their more expensive subscription service or the on-demand thing, which you have to pay extra for, because that's where they get it from, all right? But in my entire life, residuals, that's the one area where actors and performers can make money when they're not physically there for the job, because other people are making money on them. And so they share in that a little bit. Never enough, if you ask me, but there you go. Yeah, now everybody's like, oh, that's why. Yeah, that's why you only see those seasons, right? For free. All right. So, that said, if you're a live performer, if you're a stand-up, you're a musician, musicians get a little bit better because their radio play can salvage your life, especially when people are home. There's a lot of very well-to-do one-hit wonders who make more than people who, you know, ate up all their funds a long time ago. There are people who have one song that has paid for their house year after year after year because they brought an immeasurable amount of joy, and it's free. You know, if you don't believe me, listen to Spirit of the Radio, since we were talking about Rush this morning. And that's it. But like I said, I got to show up for work, just like anybody flipping burgers. I gotta show up here. Like there's a lot of you may know that I'm a big Zakk Wylde fan from Black Label Society and Ozzy's band. You know, he was on the No More Tears record and No Rest for the Wicked, but which is personally, I think, Ozzy's best modern album. Amazing playing on it, really fantastic, and just a great player. But he always says time to make the donuts when he's on stage. Like, you go, time to make the donuts, which is from an old like Dunkin' Donuts ad from a long time ago. My late hubby was a huge Zakk Wylde fan. Well, he was a good man, Kath. And that's that's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. Stillborn's an amazing song. And, because they make their money live a lot of times. Most of those bands, unless people show up for live, which is why when you have a band or a comedian, that comes to your town, you go see them. You go see them. Because that's the only chance they have. And if it doesn't work in this town because people are like, oh, well, I don't know, there's a game tonight, and there's other stuff going on, and blah, 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 then the next town's harder, and the next town after that, and the next town, and then the next year of touring is harder. And that's how your favorite artists starve to death over time. So anyways, it's another rant on it, but the important thing is that in all of us that are, that have to show up to do their job and aren't salaried, we all kind of go through that same thing. And you guys know it well if you live that way, or if you have a job where they might be laying people off. That, like, a lot of people who are salaried, they're like, oh no, bottom line's a little off. Might mean my job. That's what it's like every day when you're an hourly wage worker in that regard, or a performer, because there's always somebody who can take your gig. Always. Always. And are they better? No. They're just on the new series this year, and like during Queer as Folk, I would go back to clubs that I'd done when I was on Talk Soup, for example, and because I was on a dramatic series now, the clubs were like, well, you're really a dramatic actor, and this guy's on a sitcom, so they booked him instead. And that, I mean, there's a shit ton of that. So anyways, that's another rant on another time. But let's get back to the laughs, shall we, on this stuff? It's just a fascinating part of it. But this all boils down to we need more housing. I'm just saying. They also my agents want me to cut my hair. But it's not like I've auditioned for anything recently because I don't currently, because my agency merged with another one. I don't have a acting agent right now. I haven't had one in a while, largely because of COVID. There hasn't been anything or whatever. So I think in that shuffle, like I have a stand-up agent and he's wonderful, good man. But I I helped John with his audition the other day for that thing, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember what it's like to read a script. That's fun. Now, granted, I get most of the work that I've gotten as an actor by referral and request. So, and casting people hate me because I have circumvented them my entire career. Seriously. Like, there are casting people in LA who will not read me because the producer will go, oh yeah, there he is. Bring him. And they're like, fuck it. I have these 3 other people that I get kickbacks from this acting teacher to bring in. I got the concrete off my own chest just then. So there you go. All right, now let's go to our dearly beloved Greg Kelly. In case you don't know, the Fox Christmas tree, which was purple with a red wick, it looked like some sort of like pagan candle that somebody set up to, to commemorate the day Prince died, which is not a bad idea, Burning Man. I would just say, for the record, if you want to build a giant purple candle with a red wick and burn it completely on Prince's birthday or death day, I'm for it. So, and there was a dude on, I saw it on Twitter, one of the Fox guys who was like, he was comparing it to fucking Pearl Harbor. Basically, a homeless, mentally ill man burned this. It wasn't an attack on Fox per se, because I doubt homeless people don't get the best TV reception, and they are notorious for having shitty cable packages. That said, I can speak. Maybe he just saw Sean Hannity's face in the glass because they put him on the thing and he just hated his smug, dopey look, and that's what caused the attack. Who can say? But ultimately, I would think, for the record, well, let's see what he says, but I would say that anybody who complains about a mentally ill homeless person setting their shit on fire should blame Ronald Reagan.
Fire in front of Fox, heartbreaking. This is
It's by the way, it's heartbreaking for Greg because Newsmax doesn't have a Christmas tree out in front of their building. They don't have a courtyard on their building on the most expensive real estate in the country in Manhattan. They don't have the space for that. They're on like 2 floors of a building, 5 blocks away or some shit. I don't know. Like, I think they also have an office building in Florida too. I don't know where their primary broadcast comes out of. It's hard to say. But it's heartbreaking for Greg because they have a Christmas tree at Newsmax. It looks like Charlie Brown's.
Christian. This is anti-Christmas. This is a hate.
It's anti-Christmas. It's anti-Christian because that's the seed of mental illness.
Crime. But at least they think they got the guy responsible. The alleged guy is in police custody until he was out of police custody. Here he is being released. He's walking out and absolutely no bail, no cash. He didn't have to post anything.
Yeah, he's off his meds. He's on an ankle monitor or some shit.
He's walking around a free...
Oh my God, a Christmas tree murderer is out and about, ladies and gentlemen.
Man right now. Here are the charges against him. Nothing.
Face 6 misdemeanor charges, estimated $500,000 property damage, granted supervised release without... Supervised release. So he was released into his family's custody. So these other people are with him, and he's mentally ill. By the way, this dude Craig Tamanaha, he probably would be better off in an institution with someone managing his meds, or again with some sort of a patch or some sort of subdermal release for his meds, so he doesn't have to wake up every day and take a pill, and in the afternoon take a pill, in the evening take a pill, and if he doesn't take them on time, he has even worse thoughts.
Okay, 6.
Oh, the tree was red, white, and blue. Well, it was red, white, and blue, but the lights were so fucking close together, it looks purple. If you're gonna make a red, white, and blue Christmas tree, red stripe, white stripe, blue stripe.
Misdemeanor charges, no felony charge. Even though allegedly he destroyed $500,000 worth of stuff, he was granted.
Well, that was a $500,000 tree. Wait a minute. Fox News paid $500,000 for a Christmas tree, and that's property damage. That's not the cost of the labor of like dressing it and shit. It was a $500,000 Christmas, $500,000 Christmas tree. Sorry, Sean Hannity, tell us again about inflation. What? Really? Why don't you just have a bunch of Trumpers come down and donate an ornament apiece? The fucking thing would bend over.
Supervised release without bail.
Yeah, the supervised release is the important part. His family will take care of him, not us, and then he's going to face sentencing.
Is America, huh? Post George Floyd. Do anything to stop mass incarceration. So Mr. Tamanaha was interviewed just after his get out of jail little walk.
Where are you going to go now, sir? I'm going home. You got a cigarette? I don't smoke. Anybody got a cigarette? What about the tree, sir? Why let it? I didn't do it.
And he walks off alone.
I didn't do it. Well, nobody can believe him. Look, he's guilty until proven innocent. And never mind the fact that this dude, whether he's found guilty or innocent, now, because he's been arrested and charged with this, he claims he didn't do it. He asks people for a cigarette. He's clearly out of his mind. The supervised release thing, I don't know what that's about. There he goes by himself. But I'm fairly certain he's got a case against Newsmax for jury tainting or something. I mean, God knows Fox did.
By the way, part of that supervised bail, huh? No fire, no cigarettes, no matches. I think that's very, very reasonable. This is a sign.
Oh, that's why he was asking for a cigarette, because he hasn't had a cigarette since he set fire to the Christmas tree? And he's a smoker? Oh, my God. He's a tree truther, right?
Everything going wrong in America, especially.
Yeah, everything going wrong, because a nutcase who's smoking is going on in America.
New York City is ground zero. Here's this.
Is it? Is it for what? Tree nuking? If New York is ground zero, how did they have a new tree there in like 48 hours? Has this fuckhead, I know he served in the military, he was in the Air Force or something like that, spent all of his time on a boat far away from the action, or holding a helmet on a ship. Does anybody think this guy's actually been near like a real fight ever, much less a real battle, like a ground zero for something? First of all, technically speaking, ground zero is further south, in the Wall Street area, where the Freedom Tower is now. But the thing is, I'm just saying, I don't know where there's a ground zero where anybody's ever had a Christmas tree in the first place, and then another one came in. Like, I know it's still ground. Like, what was out in front of Fox? There's a bunch of guys like the Iwo Jima flag guys pushing a Christmas tree up with Greg Kelly and Sean and Tucker Carlson and all these guys going, ugh.
You see people coming into our country. You see, well...
Yes, from Japan. Japan is dumping their mentally ill people into our country across the border, especially during a time that no longer is happening.
This is bad. This shouldn't be. It's not fair to the people who live here. It's not fair to these people. It's very dangerous. Disease. They could drown.
Disease.
These people, it's very dangerous. Disease. They could drown. They should come.
Disease. They could drown. Disease. They could drown. Their disease could drown.
Legally and safely. Well, we knew it. A lot of Democrats see not illegal intrusion. They see potential voters. Take a look at this. It's actually happening. Non-citizens voting in New York City.
Dear God. New York poised to give voting rights to non-citizens. I'm sure it means people who are just here, who've just come across, anybody who just walks in can ask to vote in New York City. I'm sure. Let's see. AP. NYC poised to let non-citizens. I'm sure it's not for the married, like the families of people who are citizens, who have become citizens, or let's see, New York poised to give voting rights. Here it is, AP News. I'm sure it's going to be everything we have. That basically all you have to do is go across the border carrying your disease. As long as you don't drown, you will have the right to vote in New York City. I'm sure that's what we're about to find out. New York City, long a beacon for immigrants, is on the cusp of becoming the largest place in the country to give non-citizens the right to vote. Oh. In local elections. Oh. Local elections. Legally documented voting age non-citizens comprise nearly 1 in 9 of the city's 7 million voting age inhabitants. Under a bill nearing approval, some 800,000 non-citizens will be allowed to cast ballots in elections to pick the mayor, city council members, and other municipal office holders. That does not change federal law at all. It's a city ordinance. Little towns in Texas let that happen too. Who gives a fuck? Non-citizens still won't be able to vote for president or members of Congress in federal races or in the state elections that pick the governor, judges, or legislatures. Little stands in the way of the effort becoming law, because nobody gives a rat's ass except Greg Kelly. The measure has broad support within the city council, which is expected to ratify the proposal Thursday. Mayor Bill de Blasio has raised concerns about the wisdom and legality of the legislation, but he won't veto it. Oh, so just for the record, Bill de Blasio and Greg Kelly are on the same side of an issue. Just for the record. And this isn't even, this is beyond DACA kids. This is people who are like legally documented to live here. They're like resident non-citizens who work there, especially in a lot of business. Like, yeah. The law would give the electoral voice to many New Yorkers who love the city and have made it their permanent home, but can't easily become U.S. citizens, or rather remain citizens of their home nations for various reasons. It also covers dreamers, there you go, like Evan Santos, who was brought to the U.S. by her parents at age 11 as an unauthorized immigrant, wasn't able to vote like her friends or go to college when she turned 18. More than a dozen communities across the United States currently allow non-citizens to vote, including 11 towns in Maryland and 2 in Vermont. Fucking hippies. San Francisco, through a ballot initiative ratified by voters in 2016, began allowing non-citizens to vote in school board elections, which was also true in New York City until it abolished its boards in 2002 and gave control of its schools to the mayor. The move in Democrat-controlled New York City is counterpoint to restrictions, by the way, Democrat-controlled New York City, which apparently the Democratic mayor of that Democratic-controlled city is against, just like Greg Kelly. Look at that! Last year, voters in Alabama, Colorado, and Florida ratified measures specifying that only U.S. citizens can vote, joining Arizona and North Dakota in adopting rules that would preempt any attempts to pass laws like that, like the one presented in New York City. By the way, if New York City does this and then the state overrides it, it'll go away. I think that there's people in our society that go to sleep with so much fear of immigrants that they try to make an argument to disqualify the right to elect their local leaders. said New York City Councilman Ydanis Rodriguez, who is originally from the Dominican Republic and was unable to vote until he became a naturalized U.S. citizen. Well, yeah. He's a naturalized U.S. citizen. His intention was fully to become a naturalized U.S. citizen. In his mind, it was always something he was attributing to his desire and his life plan. That is not necessarily the case with some of these 800,000 folks in New York City, a city of like 7 million people. This is about whether we are living in New York City, we are contributing to New York City and paying taxes in New York City, said Rodriguez, a Democrat. No, it doesn't. You pay taxes in cities all over the world if you live there. You get some of it back if you leave, but you don't get to pick leaders in most of the cities in the world that way. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment. I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just saying his argument sucks. De Blasio, though, has questioned whether the measure would survive a legal challenge. It won't. A federal law allows states and local governments to decide who can vote in their elections, but some, including the mayor, have raised concern about whether state lawmakers must first act to grant the city the authority to extend voting rights to non-citizens. There'll be a lawsuit, and it will fail, and just whatever. But that doesn't matter. It served its purpose. Greg Kelly has gotten oh my God, the Haitians are all going to come here and vote illegally. By the way, none of them can.
New York City is poised to give voting rights to non-citizens.
I'm sure he's going to go into the article the way I did. I'm certain of it. I'm certain he's not going to just show this and let his audience assume that all non-citizens qualify. As a matter of fact, that any citizen of the world who wants to vote by mail in New York City for president next year can do it. I'm sure he won't float the possibility of that.
As we speak, they're ratifying it downtown. Take a look. Here are the details. It will allow.
They're ratifying it downtown. All right. 800,000 would be eligible. Measure take effect January 1st. Separate ballot needed with only NYC positions. Yes, local. By the way, look how he puts only NYC positions, not local elections. Like they can pick, ballot measures for the entire state as a member of the New York, like on legalizing weed or some shit.
Some 800,000 non-citizens eligibility to vote will take effect.
Right, because they're over 18 and they have permanent resident status.
January 1st. Now, they will only at first be allowed to vote in local.
At first. See, that's where it comes in. Of course, by 2024, they'll be able to vote for president, clearly. Yeah,
which is like New York City mayor. Hey, that is a big, big job. It's actually happening. So,
you're not going to mention that de Blasio's against it and doesn't think it'll stand up legally? You're not going to bring that up? You're not going to bring up, Greg, that you and de Blasio actually are on the same side of an issue? Come on, man. Kumbaya, motherfucker.
They're letting criminals go free. They are saying foreigners can vote. This is what...
That's what they're letting criminals go free. I suppose they'll extradite Trump now that he's in Florida, and that'll take some work, but they're not just letting him go free. You're not talking about him. I see.
Happens when you start to destroy American democracy, and here's a sign of it. The Thomas Jefferson statue, you heard about this too. Thomas Jefferson statue in City Hall, they said they would take it out, and they are taking it out. It's actually already gone. So where this chamber, where he used to...
Yeah, it got moved out of there.
...reside... figuratively, this is the same chamber where they just allowed foreigners to vote in American elections. It's insane.
Yeah, technically speaking, when Thomas Jefferson was alive, foreigners voted in all American elections because the qualifier for citizenship was just a birthright at that point. There was still argument about who was born here and who wasn't. The records weren't kept very well. Foreigners, right? He's only calling people foreigners because he wants this to be easier to translate into Chinese.
It's happening. Donald Trump warned us. He really did.
This week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week? And is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself.
Well, Stonewall Jackson, they didn't have one of those in New York's City Hall, or they probably would have. Yeah, it probably would have been in that order.
Where does it stop? George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down Excuse me. Are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about time?
By the way, one of the problems, the biggest problem I have with his argument, about George Washington and Jefferson is not that he gives a fuck about them being taken down. It's that he's using them as a shield to go, they're on the same level as Stonewall Jackson and Robert E. Lee. That they're on the same plane.
Thomas Jefferson. What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? I do. Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue.
Nah, he wasn't a major slave owner, but I get where you're going. He also is the first person to write bills in the U.S. I guess he was technically in the Senate at the time, or was writing for the bills in the Senate at the time, to abolish slavery in the United States. He was the first person to pursue that, and they were all, of course, knocked down. Most people don't know that about Jefferson because the fact that he had slaves at the time is the primary piece of information. You guys know that, right? You guys know Thomas Jefferson tried to end slavery, he tried to push that through, and it didn't work. And his concern also, a lot of the Northerners who had slaves didn't want to free their slaves because at the time because they were afraid that the South still had slavery and they could just snatch them up. They could just take them because they would only be free in half the country, and there were people coming up and grabbing people. But yeah, never mind. Remember, it's very important to judge people who are alive 250 years ago by the standards that you grew up in, because I guarantee everybody who's upset about it would have totally understood. They would have gone, hey, I would have woke up as liberal and as progressive as I would have been. Like I'm just that way. That's just me. I just grew up good.
And he's gone. And a lot of what he stood for.
Well, that is good news. Thanks for cheering us up, Greg.
Is gone. Law and order is gone. And
well, no. Oh, by the way, I'll gladly take that Thomas Jefferson statue off your hands, kids.
He is prevailing. Now, here's something insane and disturbing and harmful.
Trump called it in 2017.
And it breaks my heart. These kids in Portland, public school children being forced to socially distance during lunch in the rain, 40-degree weather. You see those little orange things?
These, were they sitting on buckets?
Are barrels that the kids are forced to sit on. And you can see it is a crummy, rainy day, and the kids are out.
It is Portland, though. I mean, we know you're a complete wuss, Greg, but that's Portland.
Is this America? Well,
yes, it is. No children died. They all ate. They were able to go outside. They're under what looks like an underpass.
Also America. Nancy Pelosi dining with her friends, maskless, as the kids are forced under a bridge, socially distanced.
Hi, for the record, no one wears masks while they eat fucking anywhere. Even in New York, where you have to show that you're vaccinated and shit, and you wear your mask while you're waiting in line. When you're sitting at your table, you're not wearing your goddamn mask while you're eating. I find it gets lots of fork holes in it.
This is not America. This is
not America. I'm sure, yes, Greg Kelly only eats in the rain on a bucket to protest. Greg Kelly has not been to a fine dining experience ever since he saw this footage.
The thing is, I don't know if an election can fix this. I don't know if an election can I mean, it can help.
Fix what?
Can an election fix this? A burning tree? Anti-Christian hate?
Yes, I vote for trees that aren't flammable. Everyone for non-flammable trees say aye. There you go. Also, who votes for proper mental health care for people who can't make it on their own and who are crazy, and also are smokers and a little loose with their cigarette butts? How about all in favor say aye? Can an election fix Fox's Christmas tree? How about this? How about we elect to put a fencing area around it where you can enter and go look at it, I suppose, or where you pay for private security. I guess the security was too busy making sure Tucker gets to his limo unmolested.
The guy who did it,
this is a hate crime.
Allegedly, is already out on the streets. Can an election?
How is it a hate crime if he says he didn't do it, which, you know, he probably did, but who can say? That's what the law is for. That's why we have law and order. So I guess law and order is dead because we didn't throw the guy in jail and keep him there when he can't represent himself and he's a lunatic and he says he didn't do it. I don't know why we can't just go straight to Gitmo. It's the Fox Christmas tree.
Fix that. It can help. But here is a solution that I think could go a bit further.
All right, here it goes. Here it goes. Here comes the newly religious Greg Kelly, who just discovered what this whole Christmas shit is about. If you'll recall from yesterday's show, he's going to tell us. Set it loose. Tell us the story, man.
We had Eric Metaxas on the show earlier this week.
More Americans believe there's a war on Christmas. Then what? Sorry, that's a typo. It should say moron Americans believe there is a war on Christmas. That's a common thing. So maybe they spoke text it. Moron Americans believe there is a war on Christmas. War on Texas. That's actually kind of Eric Metaxas. Phil McCracken says Phil McCracken. Hold on one second, if I may. Let's see. I'll go over here. I'll add some, oh, this is nice. Look at this. This is all updated. Text. We'll do this. Add this. Go, more. I'll just put this on here. I'm just making something. Give me 1 second, folks. Sometimes I can just look stuff up. Some stuff I have to make from scratch. Let's see. Okay. Moron Americans. Oops. Believe there is a. Whoops. Okay, and then we go this, and take this down here, and then I have to shrink this down, and then I probably have to, yeah, let's see. There's got to be, let's see, hold on, font size text, transform, non-color, opaque, background color. That'll do, gradient, that'll work. Yeah. There we go. Okay, done. That should do it. I think, let me see if this works. I can't, it's so small, I can't tell if it shows up or not. It's supposed to have a background on it. Rats. There you go. I'll just move it up so you can see it. Oh, that's why I clicked the wrong thing. They made all these changes. It's so weird. I don't want a gradient color. I want the white, and then I want, there should be there it is, background color. Should be background. There you go. There you go. That's better. And then we'll go to bold and then go done. All right, there you go. There you go. That's a little better. Americans believe there's a war on Christmas. Fixed it. You're welcome, Greg. I'm doing my part, buddy. I'll just do it all the way across so people can see the whole thing. That's better. You read that okay? Everybody good? Okay.
Whatever your religion, if you are Christian, Judeo-Christian values are so important to this country, but
yeah, if you're Christian, then Judeo-Christian values are important to this country. If you're not Christian, then they're not, I suppose, or something.
He said something that has stuck with me ever since.
Did he by any chance say, "Look up, asshole, stop staring at your desk"? Please say that.
If they really celebrated Christmas, if they really, really believed the insane idea that God sent his son to this world, et cetera, et cetera. So if they really believed that and
yes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can understand why you'd want to replay this, because that's one of my favorite Christmas songs, and I'm sad that he sang it. He didn't sing it. He just spoke it. Come, they told me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My finest gifts to bring, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Jesus, et cetera.
It out, it would be no contest.
By the way, hi, fucko. Santa Claus, while based on a St. Nicholas character, the look of him is based on a pagan shaman. So, but yeah, go ahead.
People who say they're Christians, what they really mean is, I'm not a Jew, I'm not an atheist, I'm not a Muslim, I guess I'm a Christian.
Yeah, that's what they mean, by the way. By the way, any Christians watching, any maggots or Trumpsters, is that how you define your Christianity? You're a Christian because you're not a Jew or a Muslim? So it's really about like team jerseys at this point? Way to have deep and abiding faith, fucko.
Really act in a secular way. And so it's up to us who claim to believe this to decide.
Claim. I can't believe he's playing this shit again.
I really believe this. Did it really happen? If it did happen, if this is true, if this story is more than a fairy tale, it is the most amazing story in the history of the world. Some people have called it the greatest story ever told.
Yeah, in a movie called The Greatest Story Ever Told.
Call themselves Christians. I'm not talking about Gentiles. I'm talking about Christians. Actually believed this and lived it out as though it were true, because it is.
By the way, at the beginning of this quote, if you'll recall from yesterday, he started this little rant off by saying his neighbor asked him if the wreath on his door would bother him, because the guy was hanging it on his own door. He asked if it would bother him, and he was like, I wanted to punch the guy. And then he's going to tell us that he believes in the teachings of Jesus Christ? Get fucked.
A totally different ballgame. It's easy for us to attack the left. The left doesn't really have to do anything except, it's kind of like losing.
Except support the right of everyone to believe or not believe and worship as they choose, as long as they don't harm anyone else. And it only informs their behavior for the better towards society. That's all the left has to do.
The football, you don't have to kick the football. You can't blame Lucy.
I like this. I like this a lot.
You like what? What? Yeah, Christian is not the vanilla base that all ice cream is made from. What? And who the shit thinks that that's the standard? I mean, we dealt with this. I'm shocked he played it again. You guys know me. I don't watch this shit twice. Why would I torment myself with this kind of garbage? All right, Trump Jr. is on Newsmax hawking his dad's book, look at this, Media Manipulator. Again, they keep trying to pick pics of Biden that make him look confused, and they only manage to pick ones that make him look like Clint Eastwood. I'm dead serious. Literally, let me see if I can find a gnarly new picture of him from a movie, because there's one from his newest movie. Yeah, there you go. Oh, don't play it. I don't need it. Hold on. God damn it. That's just funny. Hold on one second. That's just fucking funny. Sorry. Can I? I went to look for his newest, for Cry Macho, a picture from Cry Macho, and a YouTube video came up, so I had to pause it. And I was like scrolling through it trying to find a picture of him, and it just says Je m'appelle Mike. That's how is that not a meme? Sorry. Je m'appelle Mike. All right, I'm grabbing that one. That's a screen grab too. Hold on. I just gotta have that for later. Je m'appelle Mike. Oh God. Just, bonjour Mike. Ça va bien? Oui, ça va. De rien. Je m'appelle Mike. Hold on. I have to find the picture that I was thinking of. Because, like, look at that was, okay, hold on. Eastwood, Cry Macho. I'll just look for a picture. Images. Yeah, there it is. This is what I was talking about. This is like all the pictures of Clint Eastwood from this movie look like this. Like every time they pick up a picture of so every time they try to pick a picture of Biden to make him look like I don't know where I am. They always pick a shot of that looks like Eastwood going, "What'd you say to me, boy?" It's the weirdest thing because they're trying to, embarrass him or whatever. Anyways, let's see. Hold on 1 second. I have to figure. Vous sentez-vous chanceux, punk? Sorry, I gotta find that other. Vous chancez-vous? Oh shit, how's it go? I just looked it up. I don't know. I'm working on my French. Sentez-vous? That's what it was. It's not a phrase I use very often. Vous sentez-vous chanceux, punk? Je m'appelle Mike. Huh? Anyway, so I'm sure Rob Pitterberry, what's this guy's name is? Rob Shittersauce? I forget what his name is. Rob blah blah blah. Oh, this is okay, WAPO, media harder on Biden than Trump. And by the way, this is materially true. WAPO didn't say this. An AI program that was programmed to see, whether news stories showing the reality materially, economically, and other stuff compared to what the story headlines and the baseline narrative of the story compared to, Biden and Trump, which ones were more honest or which ones were harder on them. And it came back that the computer was like, yeah, clearly the numbers don't explain why people are shitting on Biden the way they are. That's what the program did.
Imagine trying to convince Americans that the media coverage of President Biden has been as bad or worse than it was for President Trump.
Well, for somehow you guys give Trump credit for us getting out of Afghanistan, which he did not do in the entire 4 years, and yet you do nothing but shit on Biden for actually getting us out after 20 years. So yeah, that would be my primary one. Also, we've got 1 million more jobs this year created than were projected in January. And even though inflation is up, so are wages for the first time, even after a pandemic. And their goal to inoculate 70% of the public happened. And the only holdouts are Trump supporters. And Trump himself is distinctly responsible for the vast majority of COVID deaths that are happening in the country. They literally go back to him and him lying about
even fathom trying to pull that one off? Well, that's what one Washington Post.
I think I pulled it off quite well. Rob Shinberry? Schmidt. Rob Smite. Something like that.
Dana Milbank claims, of course, after a honeymoon of...
No, he doesn't make that claim. After honeymoon of slightly positive coverage in the first 3 months of the year, Biden's press for the past 4 months has been as bad as, or for a time worse than the coverage Trump received for the same 4 months in 2020. Yeah, he's not claiming it. He never claimed it. He didn't make any claim of it. Rob, are you going to explain how he came to that conclusion? Rob, are you going to explain to everyone how Dana Milbank came to that conclusion? Rob, how? Rob Schitt, how did...
Slightly positive coverage in the first 3 months of the year. Biden's press for the past 4 months has been as bad as, and for a
and by the way, if you're gonna say badass, pronounce it better because Mike would like a word. Je m'appelle Mike. All right. Sorry. That's going to be with me for months.
Time worse than the coverage Trump received for the same 4 months of 2020. So they did this little study of this same period of time, and this is what he...
Oh, they did this little study? What'd they do? How'd they do it, Rob? How'd they do this little study? I'm assuming people know this. Dana Milbank... Trump. Well, let's see. What'll bring up the story? And let's see. Biden press. Okay, this will bring it up. Keller speaks of the Washington Post College. Yeah, people know. There you go. Well, this is the... Yeah, here it is. Because he doesn't just say, in my opinion. He says something very distinct. He says, here's proof. Which a lot of times doesn't fall in the opinion zone. But okay, it was, it's written in the editorial section of the paper, so that's why it comes up, and that's why it's under the opinion. Media treats Biden as badly as or worse than Trump. Here's proof. Now, where did he come? Did Dana Milbank go back and just like leaf through old newspapers and make notes in the margins? No, he did what we do in the modern era in 2021. A sampling of headlines, a top influential political playbook newsletter over the past month. Let the Democratic freakout begin. Dems start to face the hard questions. Does the White House owe Larry Summers an apology? The other big intra-Democratic fight. No Biff bump for Biden. The White House braces for a bad CBO score. Biden dithers. Biden tries to calm nerves about 2024. The case for why Biden is screwed. Even the extraordinary news that jobless claims have dropped to the lowest level in 52 years came with a qualifier. But don't expect the numbers to immediately change Americans' negative perceptions of the economy. By the way, who's responsible for the negative perceptions of the economy that Americans have if it's not the numbers? If it's honest to God, that's an important question I think needs to be asked. If you're not deciding how to feel about the economy based on the numbers, then what are you basing them on? Well, two things. One, your own personal experience, which is weighed against either a fantasy idea of how things should be or a comparison to how they were. That's usually how people on their one go to the grocery. Oh my God, tomatoes are expensive, right? That's the primary one. The second one is whoever you're listening to, right? Whoever you're going on, Kramer, or you're going on CNBC, or you're watching Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, or you're listening to Sean Hannity, and they're telling you that the economy is shit. And even though in your area you're paying, $3.48 for gas at the pump, you're filling your tank going, gas is $5 a gallon because you're being told that it is by those folks, right? So there you go. I could pass for a French dude. I could. Parce que je parle français comme une voce espagnole. I need étudier. I need to study. But it isn't just Politico. My impression of other outlets' coverage of President Biden has been much the same, unrelentingly negative. Was it my imagination? No, it wasn't. Now, that's a pretty declarative statement. That doesn't fall well within the zone of opinion, one would think. Artificial intelligence can now measure the negativity with precision. At my request, Forge AI, a data analytics unit of the information company Fiscal Note, combed through more than 200,000 articles, tens of millions of words from 65 news websites, newspapers, network, cable news, political publications, newswires, and more, to do a sentiment analysis of coverage. Using algorithms that give weight to certain adjectives based on their placement in the story, it rated that the coverage Biden received in the first 11 months of 2021 and the coverage of President Trump got in the first 11 months of 2020. The findings, painstakingly assembled by Fiscal Note, Vice President Bill Frischling, confirmed my fear. My colleagues in the media are serving as an accessory to the murder of democracy. That might be in the realm of opinion, but that's them some fighting words, Dana. The murder of democracy. After a honeymoon of slightly positive coverage in the last 3 months, this is the part that Rob, God damn it, I can't. What was his name again? I gotta look it up. Shit, it's
Need to have a shite.
That's what it is. Rob, I need to have a shite. This is the analytics. Biden positive first 3 months. Bink. And it's just slightly coming above water. And this is, by the way, as Trump bumped right along, basically just in the realm of this. Yes, all right. This is positive. He got some positive here, but he went way down really quickly. By the way, this is the how dare you get us out of Afghanistan collapse. Because that's what this is, right here. This is when we start evacuating people. This is when the evacuation basically ends and everybody's like, oh, that sucked. And then, And he's been up to, negative 0.03. But Trump just kind of waddled along. Look how it just went off a cliff. And again, now why would large corporations that own our news, if you want to get all corporate about the whole thing, why would they be pissed that we got out of? Why would beyond that, I mean, it's not like the idea that somehow GE or something dictates headlines is horseshit. But how much you want to bet that the owners of these newspapers, a lot of them, or the editors don't have stock in a lot of these companies like Raytheon, if they don't get the inside scoop from somebody like, yeah, we're going to war. Talk about like insider trading before it hits the presses. Here's an AI study for you. How many financial news people have bought or sold stocks or have bought or sold stocks, in their own portfolios around us going to war? Bernie would have gone through worse. Bernie would have had to use a drone strike too, and it would have collapsed because there wouldn't be any baseline. He would just fall through the floor. He had zero support in the mainstream in a lot of ways anyways. So even the normal stuff he did, his entire base would run for the hills. That's just reality. So I would like to see whose financial holdings went up from in the financial news world and in sort of the world beat news world, knowing full well that, oh shit, these soldiers are coming in here, these fighters are coming back in this area. We've got a reporter on the ground who's sending in a story. I'm buying some Raytheon stock because they have more soldiers headed north than we thought they did. Right? There we go. But dank, look at this business. And look at this. This is from leading up to the election last year. Right? Trump just humped along in the zone he was in. He always had a ceiling of -3, though, which is pretty hilarious. Dude never got up any higher than that. Which is, by the way, why Rob, what's Rob's name?
Need to have a shite.
That's right. Rob need to have a shite. Said that's why he thinks that, Trump got nothing but bad press. But that's because they're basically, as across the board, they're comparing it to like the Newsmax coverage of the sun shines out of his ass And everybody else going, are you fucking kidding? He just sold China all our beef, corn, and soybeans, and at the same time said they hit us with a bioweapon. What's happening? So, there we go. 936 people in the chat. I think we can get 1,000. I think it's possible. I know it's possible. I believe in you guys.
Says that it indicates. He's talking about the same media that spent 4 years telling you that Donald Trump was quite literally Adolf Hitler.
No, not quite literally Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, for all of his genocidal mania and his rampant drug use, was at least for a time a capable governor of stuff. Like some of the ideas were his. They failed later because he was a lunatic, and he was, the only thing they really share is ego and bad hair.
Today, America first. It was not just the racial, I should say racial, the Hitlerian background to it.
It almost feels like a little
Okay. Now, Rob, you can't just whip that. That's, by the way, that's Chris Matthews telling the truth about that. First, like, what is it, 1935 when that was around? Yeah, there it is. What he's referring to is quite specific. Whoops, let me shrink this down. So, what Chris Matthews is referring to is the America First Committee. Was the foremost United States isolationist pressure group against American entry into World War II. It was a pro-Nazi movement. Thought the Nazis were doing the good work of getting rid of some Jews for them, and so they were like, we should just stay out. Many communists made use of the AFC as well as the anti-Semitic and pro-fascist speakers who became its leaders. Membership peaked at 800,000 paying members in 450 chapters. By the way, it's weird that that's the same number of non-citizens that can vote in local elections in New York City right now. Maybe it's a balancing factor. In 450 chapters, making the AFC one of the largest anti-war organizations in the history of the United States. By the way, the anti-war movement, I don't know that the anti-war movement would enjoy that inclusion. Yes, the isolationists, just let them wipe out the Jews. That I don't know that qualifies as anti-war. So there you go. The committee dissolved in December 10th, 1941, 3 days after the attack of Pearl Harbor brought the United States into the war. Yeah, it's amazing how they were like, oh, well then, oh, wait a minute, the Japs are hitting us. Come on, man. Then suddenly they're like, oh, actually, the co-founder of Quaker Oats started that. Along with other future President Gerald Ford was in it, future Peace Corps Director Sergeant Schreiber, future U.S. Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart. At its peak, America First claimed 800,000 dues-paying members in 450 chapters located mostly in a 300-mile radius of Chicago. My favorite city in the whole wide world. 135,000 members in 60 chapters throughout Illinois, its strongest state. Fundraising drives produced more than $370,000 from 25,000 contributors. Nearly half came from a few millionaires. William H. Regnery. I'll just pronounce it in its original way. H. Smith Richardson of the Vic Chemical Company. So imagine all those kids had stuff rubbed on their chests, were supporting the Nazis. You just love the Nazis. If you got an antihistamine rubbed on your chest by your mom, yeah. General Robert Wood of Sears Roebuck, Patterson, a bunch of these folks thought it was just a European war at one point, and then a lot of them changed their mind later. But still, Robert E. Wood, anybody Robert E. We're talking trouble. Lindbergh, notorious anti-Semite. Lillian Gish and Frank Lloyd Wright supported America First initially. Two future presidents, John F. Kennedy and Gerald Ford, supported and contributed to the organization. When he donated $100 to AFC, Kennedy attached a note that read simply, "What you're doing is vital." Ford was one of the first members of the AFC when a chapter formed at Yale University. Potter Stewart, a future Supreme Court justice, served on the original committee of the AFC, the America First movement. Oh, why does it do that? My Mini restarts all the time. It's really strange. What's up, Mini? What you doing? So, because it's got my chat on it, and I can't see it until it wakes back up, and then it takes a moment for it to get back to where it was, and then it'll start playing music, because I got other stuff on there, and then the whole thing falls apart, and then I don't know what's going on. It's terrible. There you go, and we'll reload so I can see the chat. Hi, chat. And by the way, thanks for gifting the subs, Finvar. That's awesome. And Sandy, thank you so much for the super chats. And Julie, I said earlier, thank you for the super chat in the morning show. And then I went back. I didn't see it till after I'd gone off the air, so I came back on and said, and I'm saying it again. Hi, thank you. Sorry, I missed it at the time. I was singing or something. Lizzie Dog, thank you so much as well. Georgina and Kimchi and Sherry Stone and Cursed Lures and It Getter 9. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for the bits on Twitch, you guys. Much love. Where's our, let me see. Now, since my computer had to restart, I can check for 1 second while we're dealing with the America First crazy people. We could check. We are currently at, what's our, come on, Twitch number, 815. We're down 10 subscribers. I don't know how that works. Anyways, 815 subscribers on Twitch. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just going to keep soldiering at it, reminding everybody. And then 833 sub points. Okay, let's go. It's a lot of work keeping that number up. I don't know why, but it just is. Because everybody has to re-up every month and then people forget. And there's like a folding number of people who forget every... yeah, so it was started to keep us from stopping the Germans from carrying out their good work. Look at this. Let's stay out of Europe's war. Make America a safer democracy. This is one of the America First rally. There's a big Defend America First. That's the other thing, too. It was the Defend America First, initially, the DAF thing. And then Pearl Harbor, everybody was like, oh, well, fuck that. Except for Ford. Like, Henry Ford was like, actually. But, yeah, so that's what he's talking about. It's a reference to the anti-Semitic, let's let Europe work their own shit out.
Cleansing is going on in the United States right now.
Increasingly, Donald Trump is turning this nation into Nazi Germany.
Trump no doubt learned from any number of authoritarian leaders over the last 90 years. Ataturk, Franco, Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler.
Yeah. That's, by the way, not technically, Rob, that's not him saying he's literally Hitler. He's saying he learned from those people, especially Mussolini, which is how he learned to keep his jowls hidden.
It's amazing.
This is a Tucker Carlson thing, by the way, too. If you'll notice, a bunch of these guys, they try to laugh off these criticisms. They set up the idea that these people are saying something that they're not, and at the end they laugh at the extraordinary nature of how the people they said were going to say something never said that thing, but oh my God, can you believe they said that thing? This happens a bunch.
What you get when you try to just have, a country with borders and common sense immigration.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, yes. Everyone who's tried to pass the comprehensive immigration reform bill that's been languishing in the Senate for years, every one of those folks has been called Hitler.
In policy, you get these idiots calling you Adolf Hitler. It is astounding. It is amazing. And Dana Milbank.
Well, what's astounding and amazing is that you have the same sort of visual and auditory comprehension skills that Dan Bongino, who is looking for a teepee for his bunghole, has. Apparently... That's right. That's because we just saw what happened there. Congratulations, Rob.
Did have shade.
You're the Cenk Uygur of Newsmax right now.
One of the greatest hits of the year, of course. The media is so tough on Joe Biden, of course, that they are opening the doors of their newsrooms to Biden officials looking to directly shape the coverage of their own administration. Did you see this from the new CNN doing some real reporting over there finally? The White
House, not happy with the news media's coverage of the supply chain and economy, has been working behind the scenes to try to reshape coverage in its favor. White House quietly tries to reshape economic coverage. Let me see. Now, I don't think CNN would be defensive about the fact that they've been bullshitting the American people. I can't imagine that, and I'm glad, I think we're all glad in many ways, that Rob
Did have shade.
Yeah, him. That he is very concerned. Let's see. I'm trying to get this out. I have to put this in the right thing. White House quietly tries to reshape. This is the we'll look at the CNN. There you go. Hacker News. Whoops, this is it. Why Combinator to the White House not having release go? New. Let's just put it in the news. Tries to reshape economic coverage. CNN. Why shouldn't conservative? White House not happy with the news media's. Okay, hold on. Why would this article not come up? Huh. It's weird to me that particular headline doesn't come up as a CNN. Because what comes up when I get that, let me see this, is this thing, which is on Hacker News, White House. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if this will take me to the link. There you go. Reliable sources. Here it goes. Who has the power? I got the power. Cuomo gave his word. There it is. Scoop. It says scoop right here. Scoop. There it is. Scoop. There it is. Scoop. All right. How do people not do that when they're taking their dog for a walk? All right. White House quietly tries to reshape economic coverage. The White House, not happy with the news media's coverage of the supply chain and economy, has been working behind the scenes trying to reshape coverage in its favor. Senior White House administration officials, including NEC Deputy Director David Kamen and Bharat Rahamurthy, along with Ports and Envoy John Bakari, have been briefing major newsroom over the past week, a source tells me. The officials have been discussing with newsroom trends pertaining to job creation, economic growth, supply chains, and more. The basic argument that has been made that the country's economy is in much better shape than it was last year. I'm told the conversations have been productive, with anchors and reporters and producers getting to talk with officials. I'm told the conversations have been productive, with anchors and reporters and producers getting to talk with the officials. Not at or getting talked at by the officials, getting to talk with them. And this is a scoop from reliable sources. This is Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy. Let's see. So that's all there is to this part. Related, Dana Melmack was on CNN Monday to talk about his column. He told Brian Kyler that the news media needs to do some soul searching to see what we are delivering to the people. Why is it related? Why would that be related? Well, it turns out that they've been lying to the people. These conversations have been productive. They didn't now at this point have been discussed, like, not happy with their has been working behind the scenes to try and reshape coverage in its favor. In the White House's favor or the economy's favor? That's not clear. So there you go. Have been briefing major newsrooms over the past week. Officials have been discussing with newsroom trends pertaining to job creation, economic growth, supply chains, more. The basic argument has been made the country's economy is in much better shape than it was last year. Here's another thing, and I know this is just a scoop related to it, but is that true or not? One would think in this scoop, Brian Stelter, that you would include which is materially true or which is materially false. Right? Because we knew that these motherfuckers were clearly lying. All right. Tuesday Planner. Joe Biden will speak to Vladimir at 10 a.m. I'm going to have to, I guess I have to bookmark the reliable sources thing so I get to take a chunk out of basically, like, this is like, it's like being in their stacked, like, here's some notes I made on a story that's incomplete. Chris Cuomo departs his Sirius XM show. He's gone. That's interesting. That's fucking interesting, man. Okay. Nowhere in this does it state that they're trying to manipulate people or threaten them or make them report something that is untrue. which is what Rob Schitt would like you to think. Just for the record.
Not happy with the news media's coverage of the supply chain and economy, has been working behind the scenes trying to reshape coverage in its favor. Senior White House and administration officials have been briefing.
By the way, can I just say for the record that according to Rob Schinnerney, Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy are indeed reliable sources. Because you have to understand what we're actually hearing here as well. This is kind of this is like, we're having a moment, you know. It's like, don't shock Rob. He might have to recognize he's had a breakthrough. Is that he's using Brian Stelter as a source that is reliable for this claim. If Brian Stelter says this is how it's going down, this is true. This is real. This is them doing real news. CNN's not lying CNN right now. CNN is telling nothing but the truth. This is unfiltered. If you want, and by the way, watch how they and the right wing talk about Brian Stelter the rest of the time. I mean, honestly. But, you know, we'll take our little victories where we can get them.
Major newsrooms over the past week. Nothing to see here, folks. Just the White House.
They've been briefing them? So what's a briefing? Is that where the person comes in and gives you information? Did the briefing involve waterboarding?
Controlling a complicit media that helped this White House get into power and helped Joe Biden get into power. And now they're saying, no, we're going to come over here. We're going to tell you how to do your job now. Nothing to see here. No big story there, right? Donald Trump Jr.
Well, in their defense, you guys have barely taken your mouth off of Trump's butthole since he came down the escalator.
Joins us tonight to talk more about this.
Speaking of Trump's butthole, way to hit your cue, man.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
I'm still crying from that video clip of how asinine it is, Rob. It's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, but you also couldn't make up the.
First of all, I'm offended that people think that I can't make stuff up. Just because I tell the truth all the time on my show and defend the truth does not mean I don't have a great imagination. I can make up anything. Why would I? If you're going to say you can't make this stuff up, the idea that asshole's dad was president for 3.25 years
of the last 5 years and them trying to run cover for Joe Biden is truly sad. I mean, in watching that, you know how to solve the problem of bad coverage if you're a Democrat? Be competent. You saw him, again, end of message. He at Bob Dole's funeral, he's reading, the subtext. He called it the United Steak of America the other day. I mean, if he could get something right.
Okay, I think if we, there might be a chance that while he was on a coke snorting bender, he banged his head into the refrigerator and all the refrigerator poetry squares came down and his face had become magnetized, or he just breathed them in. And these are the words that came out in whatever order.
Trust me, I'm an American. I have 5 young kids. I want him to be successful, even if I think his policies and he himself is an idiot. Yeah. But I want him to be successful because I still live in this country. There's just nothing to be happy about.
Yeah, you should, by the way, for the record, because of who your dad is, you can't just say, because I live in this country. You have to say America. Otherwise, we just assume you're in the Caymans.
Because everything's a disaster. They talk about gas.
And by the way, he has young kids. How much time he spends with them, that's another conversation. The only time we've seen him with them, because they're with his ex, I don't know if he's got visitation or what the deal is, not my business. But the only time he's brought them up is on a Zoom call recently.
Gas went down 2 cents. Look, if you look in this window of a 1-day period, gas went down. But if you zoom out to the last year, you see that it's $1 higher than it was. They don't tell you.
Yeah, and if you zoom out further than that, it's 10 cents difference.
things, and the media is so pre-programmed to be the marketing arm.
Sorry, 16 cents.
Of the Democrat Party. That it's so bad, even they can't do that job anymore.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. The point is that they want to be as easy as they can on them, but you can only ignore the house burning down for so long before you actually just have to tell people.
So the house is fine. It's the Christmas tree that's on fire. Try to keep up, Rob.
Yeah, you know the house is kind of burning down. And that's why when they look at the numbers, they see as much negative coverage. It's not because you didn't have equivalent presidencies. You had one that's been really terrible and one that was actually going well that they were trying to make terrible. And so when you do that,
yeah, and by they trying to make terrible, he meant the pandemic response team. If they'd only showed up for work,
get equivalent coverage at the same time. It's hysterical. I want you to take a listen to CNBC's Jim Cramer, who is clearly going off the deep end. Take a listen to this.
Yes, Jim Cramer, notorious progressive Jim Cramer.
To me, we have the strongest economy perhaps I have ever seen. See that number this morning, the unemployment number? It's the best in years. It's not best in 69.
I mean, I don't know how anybody can be on CNBC and really think this is the best economy we've had in that long. I mean, they're pointing at one number. We have a horrific labor market.
By the way, one number. That number would be the number of Americans working. Wages are also up for those very same people. Since the lowest number since 1969. September of 1969. When I was born.
Now, anybody that runs a business will tell you that we have rampant inflation. He's talking about unemployment, ignoring the fact that there are so many people that are now, it seems, going to stay out of the labor market, maybe forever.
Well, they're going
to stay out of the labor market forever because in a two-person household, their partner is now making enough that one of them can watch the kids. And they can, you do realize part of the goal of conservatives used to be that, and granted it was only the men, but that there would be one breadwinner in a house and the partner, usually the wife, but not necessarily, could stay home and raise children because you didn't have to have both of you working full time just to make ends meet.
The stats. I mean, it's almost ridiculous to watch. I don't think we should be surprised that we're seeing that out of CNBC because they are one of the biggest perpetrators of this kind of false narrative to boost the Democrats. But Jim Cramer talking about that.
Yeah, CNBC's always been about boosting Democrats. CNBC doesn't literally talk in the squawk to like Wall Street almost solely. By the way, both of these fuckers turn on CNBC when they're trying to make a decision about a stock buy. They don't turn on Fox Business because they know Fox Business is completely peopled with Trumpies who are morons about finance right now.
Asinine, because someone like him knows better, and you know that if you're not looking for work for a certain period of time, you're no longer in the workforce. You don't count. So there are millions of people who are sitting on the sidelines, and it's like they don't even exist.
No, there aren't. As a matter of fact, 1 million more jobs were created than they believed would come back. Beyond the number that people just went back to work, 1 million more jobs were created this year so far than they thought would just be people going back to work. 1 million more people. Everybody that was working under Trump when he supposedly said everything was awesome, plus 1 million. Oh, hi, buddy. Somebody came in to visit me. Hello. Hi, sweetheart. Look who came in to say hi. Look who knows it's 5 o'clock. Look who knows it's 5 o'clock. Look at this, buddy. Hi. Were you taking a nap? You were very sleepy earlier. You were yawning a lot when you were purring. You're such a sweet boy. He's such a sweet boy. You are such a sweet boy. It's true. Even when you bite my bicep, you're a sweet boy. For the record, can we just clarify this little piece that, well, hold on, let me back up. I got distracted by Kitty. Let me make sure I'm in the same point. Hold on. He's just.
Then there are millions of people who are sitting on the sidelines, and it's like they don't even exist based on that one.
No, even with the population growth since 1969, this is percentage of the available workers and sheer number. Both of them true. Best working numbers since 1969. Which is, by the way, just about the last time you know, maybe 75, when you really could have a single paycheck household for a family of 4. Which is, again, something that conservatives supposedly are for, that people should be able to check out of working because the other partner is making enough money, has a secure enough job, and they can have a traditional nuclear family, all that stuff that they allegedly believe in. That used to be a positive. Guess not anymore. Guess the whole point is we need everybody. I load 16 tons. What do you get? Some number 9 coal. Yeah.
Statistic, but it paints a rosy picture if you are speaking to people who don't understand how these things work. If you talk about the true numbers,
that's right. Yes, rosy picture for just the totally uninitiated. So tell you what, Junior, you run $1 billion company. You're always in the office. There's always people around you because you do your little videos in between people. He's just curling up. It's so cute. Yeah, buddy. I know. You're just sweet. Yes, you are. He's purring and just passing out. You have, tons of staff, multiple assistants. I mean, it's $1 billion company. It's $1 billion company. I mean, I don't even know. How the fuck is that house empty behind you? How is it that in all the environments we see Don Jr. in, nothing ever changes behind him? Wherever he is, shit was exactly where it was sitting on a table or on a countertop or on a shelf. Is exactly the same position it was the last time we saw him. Every time we see his office, if there's anything, it's just more shit piled up to be ignored. Yeah, there's furniture. Is any of it his? Is he in a rental property? Because there's been a bunch of these places where there's a bunch of shelves and there's just fuck all on them. Right? But, this guy's a boss. Runs $1 million company. He's a 3rd generation rich kid. He's got gilded toenails or some shit. Right? He was born with a silver cock ring in his mouth. At some point, he's going to tell you. He's going to please, Don Jr., Rob knows he's in New York City. Look at his suit. That dude pals around with other, guys from the roadshow of American Psycho that pass off as his friends. No one likes him. No one is ever happy to see Rob Schmidt coming through the door. I will state that unequivocally. Even his employees who know that they are employed for one more day if he shows up for work are like, fuck that guy.
About the true workforce participation levels. If you look at what's going on, you realize we're in a scary place. We're giving up our
Oh, sorry. So if you look at what's going on, yeah, we did. Do you think Kramer doesn't, quote unquote, look at what's going on?
Energy independence. We're giving Russia pipelines. Our president's like,
we don't have the right to give or take anyone's pipeline away. We can pressure people, but also I have made this argument, and I've told you fucking guys a bunch of times that the entire purpose behind the Biden administration being for this pipeline, letting it happen, is because Russia will put all of its natural gas eggs in one basket. And a sanction that shuts down that pipeline is an enormous amount of pressure the United States has. How are my nails looking? Not as good, because I was strumming earlier on the guitar and I scratched them up. I'm not. This is what, like I said, my 4th manicure in 10 years. These guys, if you want to talk manicures, talk to these guys. These are guys that always have time to get their nails done. Just saying.
trying to cede a portion of the Ukraine to Russia. I remember then when that was kind of problematic, right? I remember when a phone call with someone in Ukraine was an impeachable offense, giving a third of their land.
Well, that's because your dad was trying to get them to open up a fake investigation, announce it as election pressure on his opponent, not because he gave a shit about Ukraine either way. We, on the other hand, are, what's he accusing us of? Giving a portion of Ukraine away to who?
Apparently trying to cede a portion of the Ukraine to Russia. I remember then when that was kind of problematic, right? I remember when a phone call with someone in Ukraine was an impeachable offense, giving a third of their landmass to Russia. No problem. It's nothing to see here, folks. This is what we're used to, and it's why very few people actually trust.
Is he talking about the Donbass and Crimea stuff from years ago? Well, I mean, it's one thing. If you're going to cede it, then why didn't Trump help him take it back if it mattered to him?
Media, because a guy like Jim Cramer, who's there to talk about business, is still functioning as that marketing arm. It's truly sick, and it's ridiculous. There's just nothing more.
Well, sick and ridiculous are all well and good, and try not to use too much, economic mumbo jumbo with us, Don Jr. Not all of us went to Wharton, so we may not understand all this crazy, like these technical terms. Maybe give us some actual numbers as opposed to just sticking your finger in your own ass and smelling the tip and falling off a limb and calling it analysis.
About it, it's just ridiculous.
No, trust me, I'm right there with you. I want to show you something though, because the American people.
Good, I'm right there with you, bro. Like you and me both, buddy. Like, look at us. We're both like. We got basically the same hairdo, bruh.
Despite the power of the media, and they do have a lot of power, despite what they've done.
Hold on. They? Fucko, you're in the media. I wouldn't consider my show mainstream by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't claim to not be in the media somehow.
Still see what's going on. The re-election polling from TIP. Look at this. Reported in the Boston Herald
from
today.
TIP.
22.
December 7th. Biden re-election poll shows dismal 22% support. But yeah, doesn't matter. Won't matter. Doesn't matter.
% for Biden.
It's amazing. It's amazing how polling really looks like shit when, where is it? When you ask people about gas prices and you don't show them this chart first. But we'll be fine. Yep. Hang on to that. Please cling to that. Matter of fact, tell your dad to announce he's running right away, Don.
Election, Kamala Harris at 12%. This is their support in 2024. Can you fathom numbers like that? I mean, that is just unbelievably bad.
I can totally fathom.
Well, it's by the way, it's why his dad never got us out of Afghanistan. It's precisely why. It is exactly why Trump never left Afghanistan, because everybody told him that as soon as you bring that up, it's going to crater. You're fucked. And that's why he started pushing that I'm a wartime president, that shit during COVID. This is basically war. This is the biggest thing since World War II. I'm a wartime president. That's why I pushed that, because it was the only thing keeping his numbers afloat was the fact that this thing had hit the entire world. So he was like, any of my fuck ups, let me look at the other fuck ups. Look at India. I don't know. Like, that's what salvaged part of his numbers.
Like that. Honestly, it should be much worse. But again, you have.
Yeah. By the way, EVP, the Trump Organization, Executive Vice President. He and Eric have been demoted from the job they never did in the first place to a job they are not currently doing, and that no one is doing.
$1 trillion industry. The mainstream media. You have another $1 trillion industry in big tech with Google and everyone else. You have another $1 trillion industry in social media that is running still cover for it. The mainstream media, they're starting to lose total credibility, so they have to talk about some of the bad things, but they're still making a very...
Some of the bad things. Don, you were doing a line before he brought you on, so I don't expect you to have heard the interview, the segment before you came on, but he was doing a thing about how literally, and it was Dana Milbank had an AI company run a program to check 200,000 articles on Biden and Trump coverage around the exact same time period, year over year. I love that phrase, year over year. And they were just literally, they've been clowning on Biden since we decided to leave Afghanistan. That thing your dad ran on but could never fucking do.
Conscious effort to cover up what's actually going on. Yep. But Americans see it. Rob, if I'm sitting there understanding my background, who my father is, where I come from, if I'm sitting there and filling up my truck and I'm upset, and I'm like, this is...
Hold on. Citation needed. First of all, your dad's supposedly a billionaire. You're supposedly a billionaire, or at least heir to a multi-billion-dollar fortune. And you get mad filling up your truck? Hang the fuck out. I'm dead serious. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to the sound of my voice, who have gone through the process. You're going to go over there and run around? Where are you going, buddy? Oh, he's just going to... Chip saw something on the floor he needed to pounce on. What you doing, buddy? No, don't play with that. Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you under the... No. What are you doing? Hi. You just sitting near the light under there? Okay. You can sit on the... He's sitting on my GPU. Hi. Such a good boy. Yeah, you are. Such a handsome man. Yes, you are. Chip is great. We love Chip. He's just like, I'm just going to sit on this thing. I know you like it, so I think I'll just sit on it. I may fart. I may not. Oh no, we've dropped below 800 on subscribers. I must have said something wrong on Twitch. See, it literally happens. Look at that. We're at 798. Boo-hoo. Don't forget to subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. Think about this. I really want you to think about this for a second. Many of you have filled up your tank recently, and it's been because you either had to do it close to the freeway, like a major freeway. If you're in LA or like on my way back and forth, that I've gone from Vegas to LA back and forth a couple times. Oh, bless you so much. Oh, you got us above 8. Oh, guys. Thanks so much. Hold on. Thanks, Mark Kremer. Thank you for gifting the tier 1 subs. You probably filled up your tank and gone, ooh, that was expensive. I've done it. Many of you have seen the picture that I threw a shoe. My tire went flat driving to Vegas last time, or driving from Vegas to LA last time, and I had to go to this place and get my friggin' tire replaced, and I was filling it with air. It was a big to-do, and I filled it up with gas, and it was like the place I went to was I think it was in Baker, where they really have you because you can't go anywhere else, and the gas was like $4.58 a gallon. Yes, gas just went down 20 cents a gallon this week. I know that exactly. That's from the stuff that was released before, and the rest of the countries of the world that aligned with Biden and released some of their gas to lower the prices to their own refineries in that process. Now, and this is one of those places where they've got you. You can't if you need gas. And I think I topped off my tank there, but I if you need gas, they've got you by the cojones. And which is it's understandable. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. You kind of own everybody who drives through. It's good to be the king. And so it's obviously if you're searching for high gas prices, that's where you're gonna find them. And you fill it up, and you're like, oh well, shit. All right, well, hopefully I'll find a cheaper way to do it and all that kind of stuff, right? Maybe I'll find a cheaper place when I get closer to a city. Maybe I'll buy it closer into the center, right? That kind of stuff. Hi. Where are you going, young man? Hold on one second. He's in. Hold on. Where are you going? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Mr. Man? You don't go into the bathroom. No, because then you get into the shower, and then if the shower's wet, you get all wet yourself. And then what? Then what? Mr. Man. What are you doing? You're clowning around. You're clowning around like a maniac. Here, head out this way, and I'll be with you in a little bit. I'm almost done. Love you. Bye. Thank you. Summer's upstairs. Think she's home. Go for it. Okay, so he's so cute, but he goes into the shower, and if I took a shower earlier, and it's gonna be it's the floors will be damp, and then he's gonna walk around with wet paws, and he's gonna go into the litter box, and he's gonna go to the bathroom, and he's gonna walk out of the litter box with wet paws and just track litter dust all over the floor. Don't ask me how I know that. So anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, gas prices. I filled it up and I've been like, oh, that's expensive, and I've just kind of deal with the reality of it. It's just life. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I deserve cheaper gas. It's just part and parcel to the time I live in, the circumstance we're going through. It's life, right? I'm not pissed about it. I'm aware of the cost, and I'm aware that I have to make up that cost elsewhere through gigs I accept and stuff like that, right? Right? But in the meantime, if you're getting pissed about it, if you're angry about what it takes to fill up your truck, and you're allegedly a billionaire, you're a dick. Or you're lying. You're not actually a billionaire. That would be the other possibility. So let's hear him describe this again. Rob, who does not drive, I'm guessing, New York City, probably, I would like to watch this guy show me that he knows how to drive stick. That would be hilarity.
I come from, if I'm sitting there and filling up my truck and I'm upset and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, no, but seriously.
Yeah, if you're like upset and this is ridiculous, you're a prick. You drive a giant truck you're filling with super unleaded or what have you. The idea that they give the illusion of being blue collar to people would be their excuse why they pump their own gas. But Mitt Romney does that.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It must drive the average American insane.
Yeah, you guys, these guys are not average. It must drive us insane. It doesn't. The average American is not being driven insane by gas prices. We're aware that they're up, but they're up over the last year when we didn't do anything. And most of us are in a business that if we can make more money doing what we're doing this year to make up for the fact we made no money last year, we would do it within whatever margin we possibly could without destroying our business.
Just not it, right? We're supposed to lower our expectations because Shell.
Does John Jr. drive a Hummer? You'd have to ask Rob.
Are empty during the holiday season. We're just supposed to forget about that. We're supposed to turn.
Sorry. What? Wait a minute. What are we supposed to forget? I missed that part.
American insane. That's just not it, right? We're supposed to lower our expectations because shelves are empty during the holiday season. We're just supposed to.
Oh, yeah. And he would know, because not only does he pump his own gas and get mad, but when he goes to buy Christmas presents for his kids he sees on Zoom, the shelves are empty, guys. Guys, the shelves are empty. They're don't believe these well-known progressives running Walmart and Target. Those woke CEOs of Walmart and Target that are going to tell you that they have plenty of stuff for the holidays. Don't believe the people who have actually gotten a PlayStation 5 this year after not being able to get one all last year. Those people are clearly woke and bullshitting. They're just lying to you to defend Joe Biden. Who believes this fucker has seen a shelf at all, much less an empty one? If this fucker pumps his own gas. The only shelves he's ever seen is when he goes in to one of these places to buy something from, like some whatever shit food his family eats.
About that, we're supposed to turn into the proverbial asshole country, and we're supposed to be just fine with that. Well, we're America. We shouldn't be just fine with that. We should be fighting against that nonsense.
Well said.
Well, here's the thing. I would be against us turning into a shithole country. I'm also against people calling us a shithole country by proxy, by lying about everything. By thinking that the value of this country only exists when this fuckhead's dad is in charge. What kind of shitty view of the United States must you have that you believe it only has value when some dickhead, from a wealthy family is running it? What kind of neo-monarchical bullshit is this? I mean, think about how insulting that is to the country. The standard and quality of America and the value of this country should be its ability to not only thrive in times when the leadership is great and bringing down unemployment to numbers we haven't seen since 1969, or how we weather a pandemic as a country. It should also be measured in how well we could ride out a second-generation rich kid asshole and his moron kids running the place. I mean, I'm actually more patriotic for how America has survived this dickhead's family than I was even before, and that's difficult considering, quite frankly, how much I love this country to start, and what a proud Obama voter I was. See what I mean? Oh, now I've got to do push-ups. I will do them off. I still have to set the camera up so we can do them on the floor over here. It'll give well, maybe no, that one won't work. I don't need. I'm already a half hour over. I'm gonna set up another camera live. I've already done graphics on the fly today.
Donald Trump Jr., thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you as always.
Thanks for calling us from your tuning in from your shithole rental property that's powered by Pottery Barn, wearing your big tech AirPods from that woke company Apple that's all woke and stuff. But he wears these. He didn't just wear these just because he's wearing them. It's because they're a status symbol of wealth. Otherwise, if he didn't give a shit, if he just felt wealthy, he could do what I do, which is regular run-of-the-mill plug-in headphones, get an extension cable, run them up over your ears. When I had short hair, that's what I did. Run them up over your ears and down your back, and nobody can see the wires, and you can hear, but you're not like, look at me, I've got AirPods in. Ding! Look at my Beats by Dre. I mean, God, Lord, for Christmas, I want you to save us from these new money assholes. Please. It's not, I don't ask often, and I don't ask for much. And I don't ask loudly. These, by the way, these headphones, I got these in a truck stop. Speaking of trucks and gas and shit like that. And they look like bullets. See? Look at that. Look at me out machoing the exotic animal pin down world hunter and his American psycho compatriot. These were fucking $12 or something. I needed them because I was like, all right, those look cool. I think I got bullets stuck in my ear. That's funny. My favorite ones are my Captain America ones, but I lost them. I think I left them in a hotel when we were doing Sexy Liberal. And then I have like these little $5 ones you get at the airport. I have dozens of pairs of these over the years, and I keep them coiled up in case I need a pair on the fly, or if they fail because they're not the greatest a lot of times. And so you have a backup version of these, right? But see, nobody can see these when I wear them. They're just black with a little bit of silver, or even the ones I'm wearing, because I don't need you guys to think my words have meaning because I'm rich. My wealth or my lack thereof should have no bearing on whether or not I'm telling you the truth. If I'm giving investment advice, I should be wearing like gold, like limited edition or the red AirPod limited editions that cost extra money or whatever the fuck. That's fine. If you're like, I'm a financial advisor for the rich and famous, these are my gold AirPods, it just would knock yourself out. I'm rich? No. But what I'm saying is, in my own inimitable way, I am, in that I don't feel like I have to show off the fact that I have AirPods like some fucking high schooler in an interview to make myself look important. And this, understand something. These fuckers own, the banks own them, but let's go on what they're selling you. We're not talking about millionaires. Bernie Sanders is a multi-millionaire. He sold a bunch of books, made a lot of money. Nothing wrong with that. Hassan Piker on Twitch, multi-millionaire, socialist Marxist with millions of dollars who bought a giant $3 million home. Whatever. And if you look at his room where he does his stuff, it looks like shit. He just lives like he lives. It has not changed him at all. He even tells his maid that he pays under the table to avoid taxes. He even tells her, I'm kidding. It's true, but I'm kidding. It's probably true. It's definitely true. I don't know if it's true, but it's probably true. It's fucking. He's just wearing headphones you could buy. Anybody can get. Now, it might be because he makes money off of it. I don't know. He may have his own brand of, maybe he sells, like those people who, a lot of YouTubers sell those, Steph does them sometimes. There's a brand of AirPods, of earbuds that they sell or whatever. So it's one of the big marketing things on there. But they get a free pair and they wear them all the time to show off, right? It is true though. Yeah, Raycon. Thank you. The Raycons. I appreciate you, Bibly. Yeah, Raycon. They all sell the Raycons, so they use them. Now they're not expensive. They're probably, what are they? $60, $112 for the nice ones, $160 for the 5.0. I don't know, whatever. I don't have them, so I don't know. But they wear them and they're like, I'm selling these things, and therefore it's kind of constant advertising and whatever. That's fine. They're $80. Okay. So, which is, if you have earbuds that are fast enough for gaming, they're going to be a little pricier than the shitty ones that I use to do radio or while I'm listening to music on my iPad while I'm reading while I fly. So, they're fine. You know what I mean? But you wear them because you're like, hey, my audience buys them and I get a piece, and don't forget to use promo code, whatever. Like, see a bunch of that, right? This asshole is always decrying big tech, fucking big tech. Of which Apple is one of the big woke companies. They're woke. These woke companies, they support woke Democrats. They're wokey wokes. Apple's one of these woke companies that supports the Biden, criminal family and blah, blah, blah. And yet, bing, these motherfuckers, promo code stole the election, right? These fuckers are never without these things in their ears, which means he either is a liar and a shitty shopper, or he's wearing them for show, which is exactly what he's doing. He's wearing them for show, which means he wants you to think he's rich because he has $179 earbuds. These are the AirPods Pro. That's what it is. I have them. I love my AirPods Pro. I wear them when I work out. But when I'm doing an interview on a news show, I use a plugged-in headphone. I have an extension cord that I bought also at a truck stop. Honestly, these places are great for like low-tech gear. An extension cord for a mic cable. The hard one is finding the tip ring sleeve ones. You guys know. I don't have to tell you this. And you plug your headphones into there, and I can do. I'm hardwired like a real newsroom, because if the batteries fail in the middle of my show, it's just not another thing I need to deal with. This is the point I'm trying to make is this motherfucker is trying desperately to convince you that he isn't a broke son of a bitch with no good ideas, and that his father hasn't completely shit the bed for their company, and that they're all in desperate financial trouble. I'm not talking about like normal financial trouble where like, man, I've been hit, medical bills that we all go through, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real downside of a major crash. The kind where you lose hundreds of millions of dollars of money that weren't yours to begin with, and you owe hundreds of millions of dollars on the other side. Not, I lost all my money. Right? That's how most people end up. Right? Yes, negative 168 million plus. That's why Trump was allegedly, his daughter apparently told his story. Ivanka told his story about how he was walking by a bum in the street, as she said, and he said, that guy's worth more than I am. That's still true. So the hypocrite guy who constantly decries woke companies wants you to think he's got money because he's wearing Apple AirPods Pro. And this dickhead over here wants you to think that the media is lying because Brian Stelter, who they constantly call a liar, said that the administration is doing something that he actually doesn't say they're doing, which is manipulate newsrooms. They've been holding briefings with them so they don't like call them out as assholes in the press room like Trump did. They're going, guys, you're not being fair, and here's why we think so. Does that necessarily guarantee a change in coverage? Does it mean that people like Brian Stelter won't report on that attempt? Right? No. I lost my screen, went sleepy because I'm late. It's a mutiny amongst my computers. This is an important distinction, and I want you guys, I think more than anything, to pay attention to that part of stuff. I recognize that as an actor and as a comedian and the like, that I could probably benefit because I don't do scuzzy well, even though I have long hair and people would think that would work. I don't do scuzzy well. There are some people who do scuzzy, man. If you're Ethan Hawke, you cannot bathe for 10 days and people are like, my God, the man's an artist. I can't do that. I am seen as a smart person who knows better than to walk around stinky. So I couldn't do scuzzy if I wanted to. But I dress my income. I dress blue collar. I wear jeans because they're practical. I have, like sports socks that I wear all the time. I have 3 pairs of shoes that I wear in regular rotation. I have more jackets than anything else because that's my accessory. I'm still paying a $2,000 ICU bill off. Oh, that was a rough one. Keto is bad for diabetics. Had been told to do it and stay on it. And my trusted nurse went into ketoacidosis and went unconscious for 2.5 days. Oh my Lord. 5 eggs dead. Don't do that. No, I'm not a fan of keto. That's another conversation. You'll never see me push it, but I do like fasting. And you work your way up to it. You don't jump off a cliff with anything. Okay? That's another conversation. But yeah, so I have a rotation of t-shirts that I wear with great regularity. You guys have seen me wear the same shirt many, many times. And in some cases, I have multiples of the same t-shirt. Yeah, I have that kind of money. I have 3 of my I Love Toxic Waste shirts so that I can perform when I'm doing stand-up over the course of 3 days. 1 show, 1 night, 2 shows, 2 nights. I wear the same shirt so that I can cut together the footage if I want to later on, if I like scissor a bit together and it was improv over the course of a weekend and it's not something I'm going to write and carry on, I can have that footage and do that at some point in the future. So I wear the same thing for every show. It's just a lesson I've learned over the years. But that's it. I drive a 2012 FJ Cruiser that I bought because it can withstand major car accidents. And I just had a child in 2011. I had my new 1-year-old, and I was like, I need to get a new car, and I'm going to get a car that will, and I bought that one used, actually. But I've had it ever since, and that's what I'll drive until I switch to another car in a few years. But I've had it for, my car is, almost a decade old, and it's cool, and it works, and it's fine. And I love it. And I appreciate the quality of good craftsmanship, of nice things. There are collectibles that I enjoy, that I have. I spend, I have to say, an inordinate amount of money on things like this. I have, to be completely frank, 5 pairs of these buck teeth that I have hidden in a couple of jacket pockets and in my my bag that I carry my iPad in, my little man purse. No, I have 5 pairs of them, not 120. But I have these in case I come across a piano, because I know how to play the opening chords of Bohemian Rhapsody. And when I sit there and play and nobody can see, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. And then I go, Mama! It's a laugh. It's a good laugh. They have a piano on stage at the Improv. And years ago, I learned of that. Yes, I have nice guitars, but they're all cheap. All my guitars are cheap. Except, well, that's not true. My dad gave me a guitar a while back that's very nice, that I've had for a long time. It's a 1969. It's a birth year Les Paul. It's very, very nice. But we didn't pay a lot for it because it needed work, and my dad fixed it up. But it's a birth year guitar. We have birth year. That's the thing in my family. We have birth year guitars. It's a big deal to have a guitar that was made the year you were born. I got one for my son. I have a Martin from 2011. And so he will have that his whole life. It was way cheaper to do it that way. My dad got me this one when I was like 35. So, but yeah, when your kid is born, go out and get them a full-size instrument that you'd like them to play. Mandolins are great and guitars are great because they're something you could pick up, even if they play the ukulele and they learn those chords, same tuning as a mandolin, but a mandolin is nicer and it's smaller. I got Kelly from Lab Rats. I got her a mandolin for her birthday one year. I miss those kids. TJ, we love you. Miss you, TJ. You're a good man. He's a musician now too. Billy, I got him a guitar so he could learn on there. So it's just a thing. It's a family thing. Just a family thing. Yes, mandolin is also violin tuning. That's true. Do that for your kid. Get them an acoustic the year they're born that came out then, because they'll have it their whole life and it'll be amazing. My brother called my bucktooth. You called him my bucktooth beaver. He had big ears and called him Dumbo brother. So that's very sweet. See, that's hold on. Allow, you can say that. Again, that's relative languaging. Languaging is only as offensive as you allow it to be to yourself. And anytime you tell someone that someone else is being offensive in how they're talking about that person, you are telling that person that they should be offended because they are weak and they cannot withstand the insults that are coming their way. Just saying. Anyways, so what I'm saying is that, and my dad, by the way, is a snob about old-timey stuff, like quality. We know blacksmiths in our family, literally people who, like my dad's got silverware made by hand by a blacksmith from a friend of his who does it on this farm in Kentucky. Stuff that has meaning like that. Handmade bowls that have been made by a friend of ours that we have. Having those things is, I mean, it's beyond even the price quality of those elements. But I think they show you, show that not only did you pay for someone's craftsmanship, you paid for them, the work that they did, and you honored what they were doing, but you also get something that's worth keeping forever that has a value to you. Like I'll show you something else. So I have, these are fairly common. You can find these around, but there's this guy who makes these by hand, these little like twist top holders that I keep guitar picks in. And I saw these a few years ago, and this thing is $30, but it's beautiful, it's simple, and anytime you move or something, this ends up being the thing you're like, I'm not throwing this out, I'm keeping this, right? So I have 3 of these in different sizes that I use to hold stuff in, that when they're sitting down on something, they don't clutter up the place. Now my office is an array of wires and nonsense. But there's an element of like useful quality, an awareness of the money that you're spending and an awareness of the quality that you're getting and why you want to keep these things instead of just buying layered junk. And since I deal with so much musical equipment and electronics over time and it dies on the vine so easily, maybe I'm a little more sensitive to the fact that other stuff that isn't like that, that's relatively timeless, should be as timeless as you want. So I understand quality china, even though I have none. My dad has my grandparents' china, and I suppose I'll get it at some point when I'll inherit it or something. But I'm not going to sell it. You keep it because of it's nice. Yeah, right. It's handmade. These guys were whoever carved these out. Anyways, so I have 3 of these, and I love them. And I have guitar picks in them, and they're around the rooms. And if you need a guitar pick in my house, you'll see one of those sitting in the music room and in my living room and then in my office, and you're like, there'll be a pick in there, right? Yeah, are they nice, CSL? So the point I'm trying to make is the Trumps are new money assholes who have no respect for fine things in life and want you to be convinced that they're rich because they have a lot of trendy plastic bullshit. Don't be fooled. And they're not the only ones doing it. When you see someone and they're wearing something, ask yourself who they're wearing it for. Most of the people you find really charming and really sexy over time, early 90s Johnny Depp or something like that, or some rock star that you've appreciated over time, and you see them in their hangout stuff, they're wearing what they're wearing for them, not for you. And that's what makes it cool. They appreciate it. But no depth. The Trumps are a frog pond trying to sell you oceanfront property. They're a mirage. Worse than that, they're a freeway mirage trying to convince you that they're the ocean. I wear nothing to impress people. Oh, I definitely wear stuff to impress people. But I don't want to impress them just by the fact, like, oh, shiny. You know what I mean? You wear some stuff to impress people because you want to go, I cared enough to dress up for your thing. Or I'm wearing something that means that I put some thought into what I'm wearing when I came to see you or came to this event or whatever. I'm not just going to throw this on, I'm not wearing, my tinfoil motorcycle jacket, my silver motorcycle jacket, to the Kennedy honors if I go. You know what I mean? Yeah, they are fool's gold. So, anyways, that part fascinated me, and every time we look at this jerk, that's what he's always in a different place. None of it looks lived in. All of it looks like a charade. It looks like somebody who's selling like entrance into a pyramid scheme. It always does. Yeah. And by the way, Etsy, watch out for some of the stuff that's on there because a lot of it, it's becoming a drop ship business just like Amazon is for stuff from China. But if somebody's making stuff, and especially if they make it custom for you, that's a great way to do Christmas for people this year. And you don't have to worry about empty shelves because there are so few of the thing that you're getting as a gift for the people you care about, whatever this thing is, that they will keep forever and they will constantly use, that it would never end up on a shelf. It's too meaningful. Anyways, enough of my ranting on this. This isn't the morning show. I'll talk about to you guys tomorrow on the radio show. 9 a.m. Pacific time, the House Sparks radio program Megaworldwide on every Saturday on WCPT in Chicago. And, of course, live streaming on all of our externalized venues. I will see if I can get it up on Instagram as well for those who are asking. I'll fire that part of it up. Wish me luck. It's always so weird. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Bye. So much, for the super chat. I just saw this.